Would you like 2 massive hardcover books stuffed full of Dungeon Master resources? More than 25 adventures spanning levels 1 to 15, over 100 new monsters, magic items, traps, puzzles, NPCs, villains, and amazing custom artwork throughout both books to inspire your gameplay? If so, Lairs and Legends pre-orders are now available. Did you miss the Kickstarter? Do you still want to get your loot? Just click the link below and look for the big green pre-order button.
Hello. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. My foot fell off earlier today, and it's been a real pain in the butt getting that all sorted out and reattached and stuff. So, but I am here. Oh yay. Well, all of our timestamps are going to be off by exactly 5 minutes just about 5 minutes exactly, all of our timestamps are going to be off. Because there was no... It didn't have a spreadsheet. But we're good now. All right, that's like a note for moderators. Oh yeah. Woohoo. Hello. Colonel, what's up, dude? Colonel, were you on the sheet tonight? Oh, dude. Penguin, we're gonna have to wrench Colonel. Wrench him over. Take him out back with a bit. You know those plumbing wrenches, the red ones. You know the big, huge ones for pipes. Yeah, Penguin butt, you got this. Dungeon Master Josh, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Flames Gaming, hello. Oh, Penguin butt, it's not his fault. What? Well, that's a direct order. Are you gonna disobey a direct order? Waffles, hello. How you doing, buddy? I don't care whose fault it is. We're good now. John the Vampire, what's up? Sakul, hello. Mod War incoming. Prime Emperor, what's up, buddy? Le Chef, hello. Oh, Ed. What's up, Ed? How you doing? Thank you, Ed. I love you, Ed. Ed is like, just try my patience. I'll blow up your entire spreadsheet. Mr. T, what's up, buddy? RB Games, hello. Oh, baby. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Orange. Orange, you can't see him. You can almost see him. He's doing his Buddha lick. He sits there just on his butt with his big belly, and then he just licks away. So he's doing his Buddha. I don't know. He looks like a Buddha statue. He just sits there and then just licks his big old belly. So you can see a little bit of him in the corner doing his Buddha lick. He's just going at it. Becoming average, hello. So, were you above average before? And you're trying to, like, become average? David Neal, hello. Dreams Gone, what's up? Spyro, how you doing, buddy? Nixit, what's up, dude? Is this inappropriate content for YouTube? Am I gonna get in trouble? You're gonna be like, showing your cats grooming themselves is not appropriate. Little guy wants attention. Little guy, what's going on?
There's a rub in my belly. I need a belly rubbing. I need my belly rubbed. Rube.
Come here, little guy. Where are you going? He's gonna pick a spot. Come on, right here. Pick a spot right here.
I want my belly rubbed.
I know. He's gonna flop down and he wants his belly rubbed. Come on. You want your belly rubbed or not? Aye. Well, come on. Where are you going?
My belly.
Where? What's his belly rubbed? Little guy, let's go. Where are you going? You're gonna miss out on your belly rubbing. Will you lie down? Here we go. Little guy, tease. Come on. All right. Those guys are crazy. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Enough screwing around. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live stream. Tonight, we're going to be sitting around talking about Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be answering your Dungeon Master questions. Other questions you can ask me about whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I answer questions. That's what I do. I sit here for 3 hours and I answer your questions. As many as I can. Thank you. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're hanging out, chilling, talking D&D and stuff. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna look at the cats. We're gonna give them cat treats. We're gonna give them catnip. We're gonna watch them go crazy. Squeaky is gonna roll around like a maniac. He's gonna be eating the big pickle and the banana with catnip on it. It's gonna be beautiful. So it's spectacular. We do have a giveaway going on tonight. There's a link in the chat. You can get a D&D book of your choice or store credit on the DM Lair store. Lots of cool stuff we have for folks over there. Also, we are hiring currently. We are looking for a handful of new freelance writers. They can work on stuff for our publications, for Lair magazine, for stuff for Kickstarters, for stuff we publish on our site or something. I don't know. We have a variety of different publications that we put out, and we need a handful of new writers to fill out our ranks. We have a roster of writers currently, and we estimate we need a few more to be able to keep up with what would you call it? Demand? The quantity of products that we produce? I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So if you're interested in applying, there is a link down in the chat. No, it's not a link. It's information. Basically, you send Zach an email and they will send you more information. Essentially, they're going to ask you for some samples, a portfolio type thing. So we don't care if you have a degree in writing. We don't care if you have a degree in biology or blacksmithing or like I don't care. We don't care about your degree. We don't care what your job is. We don't care if you're a software engineer or if you're a janitor or if you're a friggin' astronaut. Like, we really just care what you can do. If you like writing, if you play D&D 5th edition, you're familiar with the system, you can write resources for it, adventures, magic items, traps, puzzles, NPCs, villains, and stuff. If you're a decent writer and you play the game system and you want to write for us and get paid to do so, then, you know, you might be interested. Send them an email, get some information. The other thing too, what was I going to say? Yeah, we are going to ask for samples in a portfolio. So yeah, it's expect it because we hire based upon, you know, what people can do. Like, we're not even going to ask you for a curriculum. That's the Spanish word. What do they call it in English? What's curriculum in English? Wait, resume. We're not even probably going to ask you for a resume. We don't care. We just want to see what you can do. You don't have to have any experience doing it. And the great thing is that you can write for us and get paid immediately. Because if you, trust me, I speak from experience. If you go on like DriveThruRPG or DM's Guild or something and write and do the PDF and publish that stuff, like, it might take you a year to make $100, $200. You can make that immediately writing one piece for us. So it's, you know, and your name's going to be on it. You're going to get credited for it. You get your foot into the door of the RPG publishing stuff. You know, it's a good way to start off. So, and then, you know, maybe one day you can work for Wizards of the Coast and get paid the big bucks. They actually don't pay that much. Anyway, that's right there for anybody who's interested. We have a new charity tonight. So we were raising money for Stack Up. $6,000 was our goal, and we raised it. Last stream, we finished our $6,000 goal for Stack Up, and so that is all taken care of. And so we have a new charity for tonight. And, well, I mean, it's a charity we've done before because I really like them. And so we're going to do it again. It's Capital Area Humane Society. There's a link in the chat. All tips, 100% of all tips go toward Capital Area Humane Society. Squeaky, I swear. He's like down here biting me. All tips go to Capital Area Humane Society. They do lots of amazing things for cats and dogs. They have a low-cost spay and neuter clinic to help control the pet population, keep homeless animals off the streets and stuff like that. They do a thing where they go down south to shelters down there that have, like, they call them high kill shelters, basically, where there's lots of dogs usually that get euthanized because they can't find homes for them. They literally send down trucks to gather up dogs from these high kill shelters. They bring them up here to Michigan, where it's a lot easier to find people that want to adopt animals, dogs and cats and stuff, and then they get them adopted. And so they're literally saving animals' lives. So anyway, our goal is to raise $500 for them. And once we do so, we will be giving them a big old donation. And I just remember, I forgot, Squeaky, if you keep biting me, man, I'm gonna freak out on you. Do you get me, Squeaky? He's like, I'm gonna keep biting you. I like biting you. I love biting you. I have to reset my goal. Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. Forgot to reset my goal. Oh, you can see me resetting my goal. Hey, that's behind the screens. You're not supposed to look at that stuff. I have a Stream Elements plugin that helps me track how much money we've raised toward our goal. And so if I'm not careful, it like, oh wait, I have to, oh, the hit points. How does that work? Squeaky, will you stop biting me? Jeez. He's so jealous. He's just down here biting me because he wants attention. Okay, cool. There we go. Let's do some questions. Rock and roll with the questions. I think I plugged enough stuff. You broke the matrix. Yes, you broke it. My players soon are able to read the Book of Vecna. Not taking it though. Book of Vecna? What is that? Okay, the first question just threw me for a loop. I've never heard of the Book of Vecna. I know who Vecna is. Book of Vecna. I know there's the Book of Vile Darkness. Book of Exalted Deeds. I don't know what the Book of Vecna is. Oh, they mean the Vecna Dossier? Okay. Vecna Dossier. Vane's Dossier. Oh my gosh, it found it. Wow, it surprises me. Okay, so they have the Vecna Dossier. I don't even know what this thing is. Oh, here's the wussy butt. Is this the horrible wussy butt? Yeah, this is the wussy butt Vecna stat block they released to us. What is the Vecna Dossier though? The Book of Vile Darkness was written by Vecna, right? And then he has a couple artifacts. I don't know what that is. I'm probably not gonna be able to answer this question. Probably not gonna be able to answer this question because I don't know what the Book of Vecna is. What do you think are good curses to put on the player touching it? So far, I have a bit of nightmare fuel already. I don't know. I'm not good at brainstorming like creative answers like that. Like for me to brainstorm creative answers to good curses to put on that book, that would take me. I can't do it during a live stream. Like this is not the right medium for me to brainstorm creative answers. You know, I need to like have people not watching me, no pressure whatsoever, and just sit there and think. You know, I'd probably want to read the Book of Darkness. I'd want to read about Vecna. I'd want to read some of the lore. You know, I might want to see if there are some stories and stuff about Vecna and other adventurers that have gone up against him. If there's any adventures that have been written about Vecna, I might want to take a look at those. And I would want to use those things to fuel my inspiration to help me brainstorm curses to put on that book. But I'm not gonna be able to do it right here. There's a whole process and like, you know, mental state you got to put yourself into to like get creative and brainstorm that stuff. And so this, just in general, live streams are the wrong place to like try to, at least for me, to, what do you call it? Crowd fund creativity. Now, people in chat might have some good ideas, but I'm not going to be able to do that. It's just not, it doesn't work very well for me on stream to try to like think of creative things on the spot for something very, very specific that I don't know anything about. It's just, you know, it doesn't work very well. So anyway, but I gave you a process, things you could try. Hi, Luke. Hi. Did you ever, as a DM, put yourself in a situation that you could not get out of and got the players Tpk'd? No, it's never, no, ever. If I, as a game master, do not want a TPK to happen, it won't happen. Like, I have all the power at my disposal to prevent a TPK if I want to. Give him fewer hit points. I can make him miss. I can make him use suboptimal tactics. You know, I could have a stupid, idiotic NPC rescuer come. Oh, Gandalf arrives to save the day. There's so many things I could do. If I want to prevent a TPK, that TPK is not gonna happen. Like, there's so many strings I can pull to make it not happen. You know, now you could say, well, will they notice? Well, yeah, they might, you know,
So if you're pulling those strings, your players might notice. Yes, they might, you know. And does that break some of the verisimilitude? Does that break some of the gameplay? Could that possibly be a letdown because they know that you're rescuing them? Yeah, it might. I mean, I have been in games before where I have seen the TPK coming and it was glorious. As a player, I've seen it coming and I'm just like, yes, we're all gonna die. This is gonna be awesome. And then the thought in my mind is always, this is gonna happen. There's no doubt about it. But does the dungeon master have los cojones to go through with it? Do they have it? Are they able to go through with it? Or is the dungeon master gonna get like a weak belly and cold feet and decide to somehow save us? Every single time I see a TPK coming, I'm like a hawk. All right, is this gonna happen? Or is the dungeon master gonna pull some dungeon master bullcrap and save us because, oh, I don't want them to die? It's like, when I as a player see a TPK coming, like I savor it. And I'm like, this is gonna be a thing. We're all gonna die. We're gonna go out with a big bang of glory, and then we're gonna roll new characters because this is crazy, you know. And then if we get saved, if our bacon is saved and we survive, and it's obvious the dungeon master pulled some bull crappery behind the DM screen, then it's always a disappointment to me. Always. Because I know that we should have died. It was there. It was written on the wall. It was prophesied and foretold. You could see it coming. And then there was like something going on behind the DM screen, and the dungeon master was probably thinking that the players would be upset, or they just didn't want to kill them, or it would derail the campaign, or there would be hurt feelings or something. Whatever is going on in that brain influenced them to change things. And every time I see a dungeon master do that, it is a complete letdown to me. I just don't like it. I want to see them I want to see them stick to their guns and go through with it, you know, because that's the game, man. That's the game. And if there's for me as a player, I would say also as a dungeon master, but as a player, if there's no actual risk and threat of death, if I'm not able to actually die, then the part of the excitement of the game is gone. Why am I playing this game? Just to always win? You know, have a cheat mode on and you always win? Have you played video games before with cheat modes on where you always win and there's no possibility of failure and every single obstacle and stuff is easily overcome? That gets old after a while. That gets really old after a while. You know, when you have the cheat mode on in the video game, the god power mode, and you can't be killed and hurt and you just blaze through the whole thing. It's fun maybe once or twice so you can actually experience the whole thing and get to the end. But after a while, it's like, no, I need there to be the opportunity for failure. Otherwise, my choices are meaningless. Like literally, my choices are meaningless. I'm like on kiddie rails. It's like going to the bowling alley and getting those little like bumpers up where it's like, you can't fail. Haha. You might not get a high score, but you're not gonna fail because we're protecting you because you are special. You know, so yeah, that's always disappointing to me. I don't even remember what the original question was. Yeah, so the dungeon master can always get the group out of a TPK if they want to. The question is do they appreciate the value in the possibility for a TPK, or the possibility of death? And do they appreciate the value? Even one TPK can have immense benefits for a game. You know, like, it just makes it feel more challenging, more real, more visceral. Once you've all wiped before, you know it can happen again. And it's like, crap, let's be careful. Let's not let it happen again. This is real, you know? But once the dungeon master has saved your bacon and prevented the TPK, the converse is true. Or the same is true. You know it can happen again. You know that they can save your bacon again. And, well, then, you know, that big boss fight, it's like, well, you know, yeah, it's the big boss fight, but we're probably going to be okay because the dungeon master usually just makes sure we all live and stuff, you know, so it's not that big of a deal. That's not fun to me. That's not exciting. There's no drama. There's no, like, you know, question mark there where you're just like, what's going to happen? And you know what's going to happen. You're going to win. It's guaranteed. There's no doubt about it. Now, most of the time, the adventurers do win, but sometimes they don't. And it's the opportunity for failure, the potential for failure that sits on the horizon that makes it exciting. It usually doesn't happen, but it could. And when it could, that's what makes the game worth playing. Not that it does all the time, but it could. And players believe that it could. And there's always that risk. And that's where the excitement comes from. And that's what makes it interesting. I'm not saying I always want to die, or that I should, or that you should, or you can, blah, 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 blah. But it's the potential for it that makes the game exciting and worth playing, in my opinion. So, there you go. I'm just sucking this coffee down, man. What should I do with those pesky 20th level NPCs in the new campaign book I bought? They are usually hard to erase from history without changing everything else. I don't know what campaign book you're referencing, so it's hard for me to give you. I would need to know the name of the book. I would need to be familiar with it to be able to give you some suggestions. So I pretty much have nothing for you. Sorry. Do you have any pointers or ideas to make an in-game hacking event fun for semi-sci-fi campaign where you're hacking something? I don't know. I don't think I've ever done that before. That reminds me, that sounds similar. What's the name of that one game where it's like Shadowrun? That reminds me of Shadowrun and how it has all the little mini games in it, you know? And one of them is, there's a specific role that you can engage in a mini game where you're doing something similar to hacking, is how it was described to me. And I've never played Shadowrun, so I'm not very familiar with it at all. But the person who was telling this to me basically told me that the reason nobody plays Shadowrun, or that it's really hard to find a group and very few people run it, is the game is so immensely complex. And some of these mini games, such as hacking, take so long and really only involve one player that it's kind of boring for everybody else. And you don't do it that often, so when you do actually have to do it, you got to go and read the rules and figure out how it works and all this kind of stuff, so it just becomes really complex. And the game, this is the way it was portrayed to me, is it is kind of boggy. And so I don't know, I have no idea how to make a hacking event more fun, dude. Except that make sure all the players are participating. When you only got one person participating at the game table for an extended period of time, that's usually not a good sign. That's not the way to run a good game. Any advice on how to do better chase sequences? Yes. Use the skill challenges. So recently in Lair magazine, we released a skill challenge system for 5th edition. Now, lots of people have done videos on skill challenges where they're just like, oh, skill challenges are amazing. But there's no mechanic for it in 5th edition. Well, to my knowledge, there wasn't. So anyway, my team and I created a mechanic for 5th edition skill challenges. And that came out in one of our issues of Lair magazine. It was either the June issue, which is already out, obviously, or it was the May issue. One of my moderators, one of my mods, since a few of them are on our publication team, they could probably confirm which issue of Lair magazine has our skill challenge system. But I would definitely recommend picking that up. That is the way to do a chase sequence. Absolutely 100% the way to do a chase sequence. You run it as a skill challenge. And then it's going to be much more interesting. It'll involve everybody, because the 5th edition rules for chases in the Dungeon Master Guide are just stupid. Don't bother. Just run a skill challenge. Skill challenges are so useful and versatile. They can be applied to a whole bunch of different situations. You can use a skill challenge to run a combat if you want to, and it'll be a little bit like, if they're going to go against like little tiny wusses that they could kill quickly, you could just do a skill challenge. But there would be like, the dramatic question would be something different than, can we kill them? Because you can kill them. The dramatic question might be, can we stop the kobolds before they alert the dragon? That is the dramatic question that is going to be answered by the skill challenge. If you run a combat, it could get sloggy or something, maybe against a bunch of kobolds, tons of minis on the map and stuff like that. So run it as a skill challenge. And then the dramatic question again is, you know, can you stop all of these kobolds and stop them from escaping, running down all the different corridors so that they can't alert the dragon? Because if they alert the dragon and the dragon knows we're coming, that's very bad. So skill challenges are very versatile, can be used for a lot of different things. We have it in which issue of Lair magazine? June issue of Lair magazine. Spectacular. So you can become a DM Lair patron and get June issue of Lair magazine like right now. It's currently available. Become a patron. You instantly get access to it. There's a link in the chat here for becoming a patron. You can also go on the DM Lair store and get the back issue as well. They're all available on the DM Lair store. I will say though that if you become a patron, you're going to get a lot more content than if you just go buy that thing on the DM Lair store. Patrons not only get Lair magazine, they get bonus adventures, they get map packs. We usually have had city tiles, but the person we're collaborating with on the city tiles is a little bit behind on things. I think they have some real life stuff going on. So we haven't had those for a couple months now, but I'm hopefully that'll get back on track. And then there's lots of other perks and benefits. You play D&D with me and stuff like that for being a DM Lair patron. So if you want the skill challenge system, my recommendation is become a patron. You're going to get a lot more value out of it, but it is on the store if you just want to grab that specific thing. It's a June issue of Lair magazine. How do you encourage players to have backstories that you can use to create story character arcs? Only one of my players currently has a juicy backstory. Yes, so let's take a look at that right now. First of all, I have my backstory template on the DM Lair store. Could one of my moderators find the link for that and throw it in the chat, please? Specifically for the backstory template on the DM Lair store. It's free. You don't have to pay anything for it. That's one of our resources on there that you can just grab. And then I'm going to basically walk you through it. And I'm going to do that I'm going to pull up for you an example from one of my players. And he filled out the backstory template recently. And I'm just going to kind of show you what it looks like and how it's valuable to me. So bear with me. I got to go through all my file folders and find where this thing is. Right, I think it's this one. I think it's this one. Let's see. Okay, I think this is it. Oh, I wanted to do Dragars. Let's do Dragars. That's the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted to look at. Okay, cool. Come on, you piece of junk. Let's rock and roll, baby. All right, here we go. Okay, check this out. So backstory template. Basically, my backstory template has, I think, 9 questions that I ask my players. And basically the way this works is they just literally answer the questions for their character. So I give them guidelines. I give them swim lanes, if you will, they just fill out the information. I ask them questions, they answer the questions. And these questions usually give me enough information that I can do something with them. So, probably there are exceptions and I might be left with nothing, but usually it gives me enough. This one gave me at least one thing that I could use. So questions are, where was the character born? Where did they grow up? Who are the character's parents and what are their occupations? Are the parents still alive? If so, where are they and what are they doing? And then obviously he's filling in information in. I'm not going to read all his information. I'm just going to put it on screen. What was the character doing before they became an adventurer? Why did the character leave their previous life and become an adventurer? What did the character leave behind? What do they miss? What do they not miss? How did the character learn the skills and abilities of their adventuring class? What does the character want? What is the character willing to do to achieve these goals? What is the character not willing to do? What is the one temptation that would cause the character to fall from grace? What is the character's greatest strength and greatest weaknesses? And that's it. Those are the questions. Usually, if I have a player and it results in 2 pages, pretty easy to read through. And if I have a player fill that out, the probability of my being able to find something in there to create backstory adventure arcs, entire adventures that have to do with their backstory, the probability of my being able to find something to do that is very high. This one right here, there was one thing that was easily implementable out of that. And if I think and read harder, I could probably find more in this one because it was pretty well done. So that's how I do that. Celeste says, I struggle with damage per round based on hazards on the battlefield. Sometimes it's too big, sometimes it's too low. Any advice to determine what would be a good number based on level? I would probably use the trap guidelines from the Dungeon Master Guide. Just going off my gut, I would say go with the trap guidelines. So if we go, we'll just take a tour really quick here. So if you go over to the Dungeon Master Guide, stand by, sources, Dungeon Master Guide, and then there's a whole place about creating traps somewhere. Ooh, traps, anybody? There we go. And then there's like a table on here. There we go. So here are some basic numbers for damage that are probably fairly decent to use as a rough guideline. At first to fourth level, a setback is 1d10 damage. Dangerous is 2d10. Deadly is 4d10. So the average of 10 is 5. A first to fourth level character, that's, well, if you're first, it could be really, that could be nasty. And then the average of 4d10 is like about 20 hit points or so. So that's definitely going to kill a first or second level character, maybe a third level character. And a fourth level character, it's going to be nasty. So I think these are probably pretty good guidelines. Just use these and that'll probably put you in the general area. And you can always come in on the low side. For this sort of thing, if you're introducing hazards at the same time that you have a fight going on, one could make the argument that this should be considered part of the action economy of the battle. So you're probably better advised to come in on the low side of damage as opposed to the high side, because things could quickly spiral into super damaged city if you go too high on these. That's what I would do. Do you have any advice for running multiple parties and threats in the same place? Like framing events that show each party where they are in relation to each other's timeline. I think I've kind of done that a little bit before, not extensively. And the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is take good notes. That's it. Take good notes. Keep notes on the calendar, what day of the month it is, the time and stuff. And then on your calendar, you need to have main events noted down. What the different groups did of importance on those different events, or the different days on your calendar. And then when you're preparing your game session, I would consider there being sort of, I don't know if it's called a story beat or there's probably some fancy term for it that'll make me sound really educated that I don't care. But I would consider when you're preparing for your game session if you want to reinforce that idea that there are multiple adventuring parties and what they're doing is impacting somebody else's world, then for every game session, I would make it a point to look at my notes and see something that the other group had done previously and how it might impact the group I'm about to run the game for. And then I would mention that somehow and bring it in. It doesn't have to be big and major. It can just be a slight little thing. They might be in the tavern and they overhear a conversation of somebody talking about that other group and how they just killed that dragon. And, it was amazing. And that's it. It could be something as small as that. It doesn't have to be big and dramatic, but just a little tiny thing that reminds your players, oh yeah, we're in a shared world right now and the other group is doing stuff. Sometimes it might be more impactful than others, but I think that's the general idea. Maybe every game session, try to slip something in organically if you can. You don't want it to feel too forced. Like if they're in the middle of a dungeon crawl and all of a sudden they come across a message, a paper that just feels awkward or something, it might not work. And that's not going to work probably in your favor, So, but that's my advice. Take good notes, try to slip stuff in. so that the groups are aware of the stuff that's going on, and they can get that like cool feeling, just knowing they're in a shared game world. Is Steam Elements dead? What's wrong with Stream Elements? Penguin Butt, what happened? I think you're manually copying everything, aren't you? It's taking a nap. Oh, it's only. Oh, well, yeah, I can't do anything about that. There's probably something. Oh, what's this say? Session reset? What does that mean? Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's probably just they got some server problem or something. There's nothing I'm gonna be able to do about that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Two Intellect Devourers have managed to hide in one of my players' bags. What should I do with them? Roleplay them. What would the Intellect Devourers do? They're very intelligent creatures. They're usually servants of mind flayers. So why are the Intellect Devourers there? Why did they hide in your players' bags? What is their goal? What is their purpose? Do they have instructions from their mind flayer bosses and overlords? Are they there for a purpose? Are they there as spies? Do they want to try to take over one of your players' characters? Do they just want to hitch a ride to a destination so they can, take over an NPC somewhere? Think about what their motivations are and why they're there. Give them a purpose. Give them a reason for being there. Give them a goal. It doesn't just have to resolve into like opening up the bag and then, oh no, they attack you. Now, it's okay if you do that because it's D&D and that stuff is fun. But you could also have something deeper going on that they might find out about, they might not. It could be as simple as they open up the bag and there are these two walking brains and, one of them manages to get away or something. I don't know. You could craft some cool story elements there and some plots, and maybe nothing immediately happens. And then, several game sessions later, there's something that happened because the Intellect Devourers did something or other. So think about what you can do there and what kind of story, or I should say, what kind of situation can you set up? What kind of cool stuff can you have happen to make that interesting, as opposed to just open up the bag and, aha, you get attacked. Because, that's fun, but we've done that before too. Oh, Greg, yes. Dude, Brendan Lancaster, he is killing it with the monster art. Yes, he's doing an amazing job. He's doing quite a few of our monsters, actually. So yeah. All right, we have a question about the freelancers. So as I mentioned before at the very beginning of the stream, we're currently looking to hire a few freelance writers for our team. It's going to help write things that we put in Lair magazine, maybe future Kickstarters and stuff like that. Because we have an ongoing publications that we put out, and we need to have a certain number of freelancers on our team, producing this content. So we are looking for a few more. And if you're interested, send an email to my team member Zach, and then they will give you more information on next steps and stuff. So there's going to be some information in the chat about how to apply if you're interested in writing for us. You get paid. It's, yeah, it's good. It's fun. You get to write D&D stuff and you get paid for it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, there was a question about that. The question is, do your writers need to use the established lands of the Forgotten Realms? No, in fact, we can't. We are literally prohibited from doing so because that is the intellectual property of Wizards of the Coast. We cannot use any intellectual property of Wizards of the Coast that they have not explicitly told us via their SRD or previous versions of SRDs. We can't use any of that content. We have a very strict publication standards about what content we can use and what content we can't. The SRD, the standard reference document, defines what content we can use. We can also use the SRD from like 3.5. We can use the Pathfinder SRD. There's a lot of different things that we can kind of finagle to use content, right? And then obviously Cobalt Press, their SRDs allow us to use the Tome of Beasts 1, 2, and the Creature Codex, which are amazing monsters. So we are limited in like that kind of stuff. We absolutely cannot use anything from Forgotten Realms or any established campaign settings whatsoever. We would get in big trouble. Wizards has lots of money, and they literally have staff lawyers, I'm sure, on retainer that have nothing to do but protect their interests. And I don't have any lawyers on retainer. I would have to spend tons of money if I got in legal problems, and I don't want to do that. So we respect the laws. The rest of the question says, as in, do they need to be geographically aware of the official D&D settings? No, not at all. In fact, you don't need to know anything about the established D&D settings whatsoever to write for us. We do have our own campaign setting called, what the heck? It's called Grimstone. What did we call it? The Harrowlands. The Harrowlands or something? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on it. What did we rename it? It was originally called Grimstone, and then my team had a really cool idea. And now I'm like drawing a blank. The Harrowlands, what did we call it? I think it's called the Harrowlands or something. One of my moderators. Thank you, the Harrowlands. Thank you, Zach. I'm a moron. I clearly am doing too much stuff when I can't remember the name of our own campaign setting. We have that, and we have a lot of information around that you're welcome to use if you want to when you write for us, but you don't have to. Now the thing too is that the only thing that kind of really requires a setting when you write for us is maybe an adventure. When you're writing adventures, we would require some information about the location and stuff like that, the city and all of that. But when you're writing other resources for us, like we just publish magic items and NPCs, villains, monsters, traps, puzzles, any of those sorts of resources don't require any campaign setting whatsoever. It doesn't matter. In fact, we wouldn't want those sorts of resources. The way we write them is so that a dungeon master can drag and drop them into their own campaign. So we really don't want there to be any campaign setting necessarily built into them. Maybe if you throw some stuff from our own Herald lands, that would be acceptable, but it's perfectly fine for them to be completely setting agnostic, because that way it's even easier for a dungeon master to just be like, I'm taking this NPC and putting it in my city, and then it makes it easier. So I don't think, yeah. So you're good if you don't know anything about campaign settings. Oh, how do you feel about the Wizards of the Coast Vecna stat block? It sucks. It sucks. I mean, is there any other way to say it besides that it sucks? I think I literally had it up here. We should just look at it. It's so horrible. They're just riding. It's like season 4 of Stranger Things comes out, right? And they're like, Vecna! Wah! And so, of course, I mean, Wizards isn't stupid. They know that when Stranger Things comes out and they mention Vecna in D&D, that people are going to go to Google and they're going to type in D&D and Vecna. And so Wizard obviously wants to have stuff that Google is going to ping and show to people. And so they're publishing stuff about Vecna. So, I mean, there's an entire marketing strategy around that. And they're licensing D&D to the people who are making Stranger Things. They have a licensing agreement there. And so they know that stuff's going to come out, and they can plan it in advance, and they can get a stat block ready, and they can do all of these things. I think they published the level 20 adventure also to go along with the Vecna stat block. We can mention something about that too if we are feeling kind tonight. So they published this Vecna stat block, and in my opinion, this stat block, if you were to put a group of 4 or 5 adventurers against Vecna, they kill him in 2 rounds. Vecna goes down in 2 rounds, and it's not even a hard fight. It's really, really lackluster stat block. So let's take a quick look. 272 hit points. So at level 20, your basic fighter or barbarian is going to do maybe 100 points of damage a round or something. They're just going to cram it out, dude. Big time. Big time. There's legendary resistances, but there's no legendary actions. So immediately, Vecna has a huge problem with action economy. They have no action economy. They're good. And this is the other thing, you guys. If Vecna does something as stupid as trying to cast a spell, I mean, they're supposedly a powerful spellcaster, right? But if they even think about casting a spell against a group of characters, they're going to get counterspelled and they're going to have wasted that spell casting, and then they will do nothing on their turn. Nothing on their turn. And then their action economy is even worse. They're just going to get counterspelled and then the game is over. So you can't really have them cast spells. That's a very poor idea for running Vecna in a combat, because they're going to get counterspelled. They don't even have counterspell on their list, because you could have them counterspell the counterspell, but they don't even have that available, do they? Oh no, they do. They do have, he does have dread counterspell. Okay, never mind. There it is. So he does have the ability to counterspell once. Okay, so that'll save him from one counterspell. That's good. That's good. So maybe he would be able to get a spell off. And what kinds of spells is he gonna do to influence this combat? He has Lightning Bolt. Dimension Door can get away. Invisibility is pretty worthless in a combat. Scrying is not even a combat thing. Global Invulnerability, I mean, that's good, but it's concentration. And Dominate Monster, that's like his biggest thing that he can do as a spell is Dominate Monster to get one of the characters to fight for him. But if he does that, he can't use Global Invulnerability, which would be very helpful to protect him against spells. So Lightning Bolt's not horrible, but you're a CR 26 and you're casting Lightning Bolt? That seems underwhelming. So his best bet is to, I guess, try to dominate one of the characters so they fight for him. And then at that point, his spells are mostly useless, so I wouldn't use any spells. Let's see what other things he can do. Okay, he has Afterthought. Okay, he has a dagger. Is this right? It's a dagger, right? I think Afterthought is a dagger. Yeah. He has an attack with a dagger, so he can do some damage with a dagger. That's a pitiful amount of damage with a dagger. He can make 2 attacks with it. Wow. How much damage does he do? He does like 20 some points of damage as a CR 26. Okay. That's not gonna do anything in a battle at all. That's pretty much worthless. Okay, Flight of the Damned. Each creature in the area must make a saving throw, which is reasonably high, but level 20 group, you might have some people that fail it. On a failed save, you take 36 necrotic damage, which is nothing for a high level group. And you're frightened of Vecna. Okay, well, frightened is not good. Frightened is not a very good condition to be affected by. But if you have a paladin in your group, it won't even, it'll be negated. So, but let's assume you don't. On a successful save, you're not frightened. You can repeat it. So that's like something, I guess. But it's a recharge ability. It has a really good area of effect. But that's his action, you guys. That's literally what he does on his turn. Like, that's what he does. That's it. Hello, I'm Vecna. I'm really powerful. I'm gonna do 36 damage to all. It's almost like a fireball spell. Like, the average damage of a fireball spell, if I remember correctly, is 28 points of damage. I think it's somewhere around there. This does a little bit more. So he basically his big powerful ability is dropping a fireball on the group that can make you frightened of him. That's terrifying, right?
Rotten Fate. All right, let's take a look at Rotten Fate. Vecna causes necrotic magic to engulf one creature he can see within 150. So it's one creature. Constitution saving throw. You take 96 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much damage as a successful one. So that's going to reduce. That might kill a squishy character like a wizard, but somebody like a fighter or barbarian it won't hurt them that much, and they might make their saving throw too. So you really got to target somebody that's squishy with that if you want to have any impact at all. A humanoid killed becomes a zombie. Okay, cool. And then this Rotten Fate. The Rotten Fate is something that, like, there's no recharge on it. You can do it every round if you want to. So far, Rotten Fate is his very best attack. His very best attack does 96 points of damage, which isn't bad, right? But he's just damaging one character with it, and the rest of them are going to beat the crap out of him. Bonus actions, Vile Teleport. Now this is really good. So if you want him not to die, you're going to have to keep him mobile and teleport all over the place. So this is actually, wait, Vectra teleports along with any equipment he's carrying up to 30 feet. He can cause each creature of his choice within 50 feet to take. Okay. So you might, if you do some extreme guerrilla warfare and are very, very tactical about using Vile Teleport, you could probably get Vecna to use his Rotten Fate on somebody, teleport somewhere, use Rotten Fate, teleport away. But you're gonna have to have this, that fight would need to take place in a terrain that is very, very suitable for that strategy. Like, you would need maybe pillars that are, say, 30 feet high, and Vecna is at the top of these pillars. And there's many pillars, and they're all spaced about 30 feet apart from each other. And then Vecna just keeps teleporting from pillar to pillar, zapping people down below. And the people down below have a hard time getting to him. And he teleports every round and zaps somebody, teleports and zaps, teleports and zaps, teleports and zaps. So you could, some strategy like that I'm envisioning would probably keep him alive for a decent amount of time as the players try to figure out how to get at him. But, you know, high level characters probably have access to fly at that point. And the wizard's gonna upcast it, and then 3 melees are gonna have fly on them. And then that strategy is kind of gone because fly is, I think it's either 30 or 60 feet of movement, and Vecna can't teleport that far. So that will work for a little bit, but it's not gonna work for very long. And then the Fell Rebuke, if you're stupid enough to use Fell Rebuke, then turn in your Dungeon Master guidebook. When you have, oh no, hold on, I take that back. He has 3 reactions. He has 3 reactions per round. Oh, well, that's different. Okay, so what I would do then is I would save, depending on how many spellcasters there are, I would save all of your reactions for counterspelling if you need it. And if you don't, then Fell Rebuke is well, you get to teleport, you get to do some damage and teleport. So that's not bad. That's not bad. So you can keep him moving, you can keep him mobile, you might be able to keep him alive. And then, you know, of course, the problem is if a spellcaster casts a spell on Vecna and Vecna uses Dread Counter Spell, that's not actually, that's not a spell. That's not a spell, so it can't be counterspelled. That's because sometimes, you know, if, let's pretend that Vecna had the counterspell spell, then the character could cast some spell at Vecna. Vecna would counterspell, then the character wizard could just counterspell the counterspell and then continue casting his original spell. Like, that's a strategy. But this one can't actually be counterspelled because it's not a spell. So that's very interesting. So the way I see this fight going on is the way against a high level group, if you use extreme guerrilla warfare, you can keep Vecna alive for some time, but I don't see him actually posing a threat to the group unless, and well, here's the other thing, and this is important too. You would never
never deploy Vecna all by himself in a fight. He would always have minions, always. Give him a mummy lord, give him a vampire like Strahd, you know, whatever. You need to have some nice minions to go along with Vecna. He's not going to be by himself. He has an intelligence of 22. He knows that he needs minions to help him out. So that would just never happen. So my entire breakdown was assuming he had no minions. But if he has minions, then, you know, he's going to be a little bit more effective. He still doesn't strike me as a powerful archmage or an archlich. He really just, he strikes me as a one-trick pony. Teleport away and use Rotten Fate. Teleport away, use Rotten Fate. Most of his spell casting is worthless, and he's just going to keep hitting people with Rotten Fate. He's essentially a warlock that uses Eldritch Blast, only it's called Rotten Fate, and it does a lot more damage. But that's really what he is. He teleports around and uses Rotten Fate, and then he must have minions, obviously. Oh, if you hit him with Shocking Grasp once, he loses all reactions. Oh my gosh, yeah. And I think somebody else was talking about just hitting him with cantrips all the time. Yeah. He gets completely bodied by 2 cantrips. What 2 cantrips? The Shocking Grasp will take away his reactions. And then what else? What's the other cantrip people were saying? Teleporting away is not what he does. He teleports into melee range to heal. Why would he do that? Chill Touch? Oh, Chill Touch to prevent healing? Yeah. Why would he teleport into melee range to heal up? Why would he do that? That's crazy. That would get him killed faster. Yeah, I mean, he should be able to counterspell those cantrips, but then he's using his counterspell to counterspell cantrips. Okay, fair. Anyway, I don't know. This isn't an archlich. It isn't. This is a creature, but when you think of Vecna, when you think of the threat that should be presented by Vecna, this stat block doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. Oh, the Vow Teleport. It does damage where he reaches, not where he starts. Oh. Oh. He can cause, I didn't read the whole thing. He can cause each creature of his choice within 15 feet of his destination space to take psychic damage. If at least one creature takes this damage, Vecna regains 80 hit points. So that is the stupidest, dumbest game mechanic you could ever give a monster. That is so stupid. It's like they intentionally designed Vecna to die. We're giving him a game mechanic whereby, as a spellcaster, he teleports next to creatures and he heals. It's if a dungeon master is stupid enough to do that, like, they deserve Vecna, their Vecna fight to be a complete letdown. Like, you don't teleport a wizard next to their enemies. You teleport them away from their enemies. So that's a trap. That's like a dungeon master trap. And I shouldn't say if the dungeon master is stupid enough. I should say if they aren't experienced enough to understand that that's a trap. That is a complete trap that the designer of this stat block wrote in there. A dungeon master would fall for that if they don't know any better. And then they would have Vecna teleport next to somebody to get healed and then get destroyed when, like, somebody beats the crap out of them. Yeah, that's a trap. That's such a trap for dungeon masters. Don't do that, guys. Be smarter than that. But the thing is not all dungeon masters, you know, I mean, there could be people that are running one-shots and they're just like, oh, this is cool. Let's do a one-shot with this Vecna. And then they just don't know any better. And then it just, yeah. It's inexcusable that this was published. Yeah, this is a complete and utter letdown. Final answer. Where's my, there we go. I can't find my right button.
I'm out of coffee and I'm thirsty. Remember, the conceit of 5e is that players always win. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, but there should be some challenge to it. You know, their victories should be fought for and earned. Like, I think we've learned that participation trophies are empty and don't actually make you feel good. Like, when everybody in your class gets a trophy, you do not feel special. Like, when you sucked it up, but you got a trophy anyway, you don't feel special. You want to beat that person over the head with your stupid little trophy. All right, we're done talking about Vectra. That was a long Vectra talk, but it was necessary to look at that. All right. Okay, so giveaway. We're doing a giveaway. There's a link in the chat to get in on our D&D book giveaway. We're also currently raising money for Capital Area Humane Society. They are the Humane Society near where I live that helps out cats and dogs and stuff like that. They help with adopting. They take in strays and homeless cats and animals and dogs, help with getting them adopted. They save dogs from high kill shelters down south, bring them up to Michigan, get them adopted. They have a low cost spay and neuter clinic. I personally donate to Capital Area Humane Society, and now we're going to try to raise $500 for them. So if you want to donate, all tips will go toward the Capital Area Humane Society. There's a link in the chat where you can go and tip, and there's also a link there where you can learn more about the Capital Area Humane Society as well. So we have donated to them before. They are one of the organizations here locally that I love and support. Like I said, I support them every month with my own personal money, and obviously I try to, raise extra money for them and stuff because I love what they do. So we are going to keep doing the thing too where we did this for the Stack Up charity, where I would do push-ups and stuff if people donated certain amounts. And I think I'm going to keep on doing that because, I don't know, I think people like seeing me do stupid things on stream and making myself look dumb. So if any donations for $50, I do push-ups. What was it? $100, I will dance on stream. And then a donation of $250, I sing a song. So we're going to keep on doing that. Remember, it's through tipping. The tipping goes toward Capital Area Humane Society. All right, now what I'm going to do is, I did not do this at the beginning of the stream. So you might notice I have lots of cats that are like starting to hang out here with us. Just tons of cats. You can see like 4 of them kind of on the peripheral, the edges of the screen here. They want their kitty treats, and we are going to give them their kitty treats. But before we do that, I want to do a quick shout out here to my wonderful patrons and YouTube channel members. These are the folks here that contribute monthly to help us do everything that we do. All of the videos we create, these live streams where we can answer people's questions, our premium publications such as Lair magazine, all of these folks here, they help make that happen. I am deeply, deeply appreciative to them. Oh, we have the free stuff that goes on the DM Lair site as well. We literally pay people to write resources that we make available to the D&D community for free so that you guys just have things you can use in your games, because we know that not everybody has finances to be able to buy premium products. So we make sure that there are products of ours that are free to people as well. And obviously all of our patrons get Lair magazine every month and other of our premium products as well, and other perks and stuff like playing D&D with me and stuff like that. So deeply, deeply appreciative to our patrons and channel members. And then these folks here, they get their name read out because they support at a higher level, and I am deeply, deeply appreciative of them. So here we go. 5e Magic Shop, Alex, Alex T, Amanda W, Ambers, Amy P, Andrew M, Andre U, Andy S, Andy W, Anthony B, Antoine B, Arrow Odd, Arutha, Ashley, Baldwin, Bardabear, Ben B, Benjamin B, Barncastle, Brandon, Brandon A, Byron M, Celestina K, Chris C, Christopher S, Clay W, Cody B, Contrary Gravy, Corey S, Double D, Draxus, Dresna, Duddy K, Dutch, Ed R, Edward L, Ericos, Fabian H, Flame Black 200, Frostbrew, Gallist, Gene A,
Goliath Cleric, Gravy Chorn, Heron S, Heather L, Iggy, It's Beoban, Izzy T, Jackie Pizza, Jake L, Jacob K, James L, Jan F, Jeremy W, Jessica J, Jim P, Jimmy L, JM, Joe D, John A, John C, John D, Joseph H, Josh S, K, Kale S, KK, Keith L, Kevin F, Kezides, Kirby, Kyle G, Kyle M, Labraworks, Lionheart, Magna N, Marty M, Marwin R, Matt B, Matthew J, Michael L, Mirastall, Mr. Linkanu, Mr. T, Ol S, Omega Fire, O&D, Penguin Butt, published author Rachel S, Radiance Guardians, Ramus, Razlik, Race W, Renner C, Robert C, Robert J, Ron R, Ronald, Ryan, Ryan H, SG Sounders, Sakura, Sam B, Samuel R, Scott V, Shadow, Shane L, Sheila A, Snowy Tiggy, Son of a Sofa Man, Soul Naya, Stephen F, Stephen A, Silk R, Tactical Tokens, The Three Quarters Hospital, The Old DM, The Pickle, The New Bad Ombre, Thomas F, Thomas T, Thor, The Explorer, Tiger 500, Tim Black, Tim and K, Soko Sanj, I'm sorry, Tom C, Travel and Cash, Travels the Lost, Tyler R, Vincent G, Vladimir S, Volhoff V, Will M, William C, William H, XX Red Drum, Zachary J. Woo! All right, folks, thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Okay, we're gonna do the cat strike now. Here we go. These guys should sponsor my streams, darn it. You guys ready? They're like sharks. Here we go. That screen. What's going on down there? What's going on? All right. I'll be back. Mommy's looking extra floofy today. Kirby, thank you for the $25 tip, dude. I appreciate that. Ooh, look at this. Mojer is at 300 hit points. Like, if you guys look up here, right here, this is like our hit point bar. And when you donate, when you tip or send super chats, like it kills the current boss up here in the corner. And it looks like Kirby's $25 tip to Capital Area Humane Society almost killed Mojer. It like slivered him. Probably the next person who like tips and donates and stuff is gonna get their name up top on the screen right there. That's how that little thing right there works. And that he's currently slivered. It's a tiny bit is gonna take him out. All right, let's get to some more questions here. Luke, I want to end my current campaign because I just don't like what I created. But I don't want to just end it without a conclusion. What do I do? You, my fine sir, have answered your own question. You create a conclusion. Create a conclusion, dude. Create a conclusion, man, and wrap things up. Wrap things up. I would suggest caution, though. I don't know how many times like you've ended your own campaign and restarted, but there can be a tendency. There are some dungeon masters who will start a campaign, get bored, and quit and do something else. Start a campaign, get bored, quit and do something else. Start a campaign, get bored, quit and do something else. And they keep on churning through ideas for a campaign. So be careful. I don't know if you're doing that or not. You didn't say you were, so maybe this is a long ongoing campaign and you've had enough. So it's fine to draw it to a conclusion. Just wrap it up. Wrap up your campaign. Make there be a conclusion. Try to find a way to do it quickly. You might also talk to your players and just say, hey guys, you know, I'm kind of getting bored with this current campaign. So I was planning on maybe wrapping it up and stuff and doing something else. What do you guys think? Does that sound appealing to you? Or are you guys really, really liking this campaign? Talk to your players and see what they think too. Because they might love that campaign that you're running. And if you wrap it up and draw to a conclusion, you know, you might be breaking their hearts and stuff. So I would talk to them. I think their input on the matter is important and see what they're thinking. I also want to tell you too that one of the reasons that I run my campaigns with character adventure arcs and side quests, I don't just have adventures in my games that only have to do with the main campaign. I almost always have side quests and character adventure arcs that are entire adventures. So at any given point in time, you know, they might be on the main quest that has to do with the main campaign, but they might have a side quest they might do next. Or there might be something that has to do with one of the characters' backstories, that there's an entire adventure dealing with it. And so at any point in time, you know, we might be swapping and switching from one thing to the next. And my point is this: what that does is not only does it give the players variety and helps them pursue things in their backstories, go on little side quests that might be interesting and might further their own goals, and also they go against the main campaign idea, the central idea of the campaign, and the big bad or something, presumably. So it gives them variety, but it also gives you variety. Because if all you're ever doing is running your main campaign adventures, you might get bored of that. You might get tired of it. You might want to do something else. So having all of these other adventure arcs, side quests, and then character arc adventures going on at the same time, you know, it allows you to do different things in the game and swap among them. Go on this adventure for, and then this one, and this one, you know, and that's going to help you too. And it'll probably keep you more interested in getting less bored as well. So that would be my suggestion. A few different things you could try to do to help with your current plight. Mr. Goats says that Vectra stat block gives me bad feelings for 5.5. Mr. Goat, I would probably say that the majority of my team and I have bad feelings for 5.5. The current trajectory of things, the current state of the game and the trajectory gives us cause for concern. I have more than once thought about another game system that I might need to pursue if things just keep going badly. Or just, you know, you do the thing where you just stick with 5e and you never change and upgrade. Because a lot of people did that. You know, the whole 4th edition caused a lot of people to just stick with 3.5 and go Pathfinder. So yeah, I hear you, Mr. Goats, dude, and you are not alone, sir. You are not alone. You know, by the way, that Vectra stat block, I heard that there is an adventure that was released that goes along with it. And I haven't read the adventure or anything, but I hope and pray that the final fight with Vecna in that adventure gives some really good terrain that Vecna can use to teleport around. Like, for instance, not a square room with no terrain. Like, if they, in that adventure, if they put Vecna in basically an empty square room, somebody needs to learn something about game design, you know, because that would just be the worst boss fight in the world. And then if they had no minions for Vecna, that would make it even worse. Can you imagine fighting that Vecna that we just looked at in a square room with no minions and no terrain? That is the worst boss fight in the world. So I have not read the adventure they released with it. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that I hope they gave him a bunch of minions, an interesting terrain to fight on, in ways that he could use his like hit and run tactics to his advantage, I guess. But they actually made him to teleport next to people as opposed to away from them. So that doesn't make any sense. So hopefully their adventure uses his stat block things to his advantage as much as possible. Yes. All right, questions. Have you ever wanted to integrate your Lair magazine content into Fantasy Grounds or Roll20? So we are currently working on getting stuff into Roll20. We have one adventure that we've reworked for Roll20. I have submitted it multiple times to Roll20, and they have all these little tiny like, well, you didn't click this right box, you have to redo it. Okay, I'm gonna go click the box for you. Click box, resubmit. Oh, well, you know what? This is actually an add-on, so you're gonna you submitted it as a module. You're gonna have to redo the entire submission and resubmit it as an add-on. Why didn't you tell me that the first time? And so now I have to go in and redo the entire submission and submit it as an add-on. So, I mean, you know, they have their own specific, yeah, I'm not really complaining a whole lot. It's my first time and I'm learning things, and, you know, I made mistakes and didn't do it properly. So now I got to go pay the price and redo it or something. But anyway, that's not my point. I'm griping a tiny bit, but ultimately it was my mistake, so whatever. But anyway, my point is this. We're currently working on getting stuff into Roll20. So my current goal is to try to start having more and more of our content going into Roll20 so that people can access it there as well, the adventures and all that kind of stuff as well. So we're working toward that currently. But it's a part of the business that we're just slowly expanding into, because we have a lot of stuff going on and we have to keep the lights on with Lair magazine, with the Kickstarter and videos and all that other stuff we got going on. And then we're going to start pushing into Roll20. So my goal is to start pushing into Roll20. Now, Fantasy Grounds, I don't know about that. We need to see how Roll20 goes, because here's the thing. Roll20 has the largest user base out of all of the online platforms, is my understanding. And so we need to start getting into Roll20 first, getting content there to capitalize on the large user base. And then we need to see how that goes. I need to do evaluate. Once we start putting some products out there, I need to evaluate the analytics. You know, hey, okay, this is what it's costing us to produce these products out on Roll20, and this is the revenue we're seeing. You know, does it make sense to keep on doing this? Just a basic ROI analysis. You know, if it looks good, well, then we keep on going there. You know, and then at that point, that will give me probably some useful data that I can look at Fantasy Grounds and be like, okay, so this is how Roll20 was doing for us. What about Fantasy Grounds? Can we push into Fantasy Grounds and put some stuff there? You know, and what could we expect? What kind of results could we expect there? And so it is something that we have on our radar as far as expanding the business and going into different areas, you know. But it's not going to be fast. It's going to be a slow process, because we have a lot of stuff going on and only so many people doing the work. And so we got to slowly move into that stuff. What do you do exactly when you prepare a session from a module? I read through the adventure from the module, and I might make some notes on a map. I might make some notes in OneNote. Stand by. I might make some notes somewhere about it. Sometimes I will print out the actual module pages and highlight them and stuff. I do that less and less these days. Usually I just read through it a little bit and get an idea in my mind of things and think through things and stuff. Yeah, that's generally what I do because I want to have that stuff fresh in my mind. So I don't really have like some big process or something. I mostly just read through it and just take some notes and stuff, prepare for it. It's not too complicated. Running stuff from, it depends on the module. Right now I have one group that's running stuff from Icewind Dale. That's not that difficult to plan things for them. Curse of Strahd's a little bit more challenging to plan things for. I think it just depends on the module. My Curse of Strahd game at one point was going through Castle Ravenloft. There is no preparing that for that game session. Like, Castle Ravenloft is so immensely huge. It's like there's no way I'm gonna like keep all of that information in my head. I'm just gonna have to resign myself to referring to the book and the notes all the time while I'm running that game session. What am I gonna do? Because usually when I prepare a module, I really try to know the adventure well enough that I don't have to look at the book that much. That's my goal, is to have most of it kind of fresh enough here that I can just kind of run the adventure, and there's a lot of ad lib, making things up as I go so that I don't have to refer to the book. But for Castle Ravenloft, there was no doing that. Regarding the skill challenge rules, will this issue be in the last Kickstarter? No. The last Kickstarter was purely for 2021 stuff in Lair magazine. And the skill challenge rules are in June 2022 issue. That will not be in the Kickstarter book, no. What is your occupation, Luke? Well, this is what I tell people. When they ask me what I do these days, I tell them, well, I run a publication business. We produce videos and we produce print products. That is my occupation. That's what I tell people. I quit my day job on May 27th this year. So it's a little over a month now since I quit my day job. So there we go. So my occupation right now is 100% I create content for D&D. I do the videos, I do these live streams, we have Lair magazine, we have the Kickstarters. I am 100% dedicated to that. That's all I do. That's all I work on right now. And I was just, so the Dungeon Coach, he's a YouTube channel, Alan from the Dungeon Coach, he and I are buddies, and we talk all the time. And I was literally sending him a message today. We have this app called Marco. We send videos back and forth where we can talk to each other and stuff. And I literally sent him a message today and I was like, dude, my Trello board is like, I'm getting it all cleaned up. I'm getting all of my stuff done. I'm no longer like, have this massive backlog of things I'm supposed to do. I'm actually getting it cleaned up. And I was pretty excited. By the way, Trello is a Kanban board that you can use for project management and stuff like that. You might not understand what that is, but it's a very useful tool when you have complex projects and different things going on. So anyway, that's my occupation right now. I thought you were a professional liar. Yes, I am. That's true. All right. Ananta says, hey Luke, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the OSR D6 system versus the D20 system and their strengths and weaknesses. I would love to answer your question, but I know nothing about the OSR D6 system, and so I'm not able to do a comparison for you. I apologize. I am interested in OSR though. That's actually one of the game systems that is piquing my curiosity. Every time I think of the current trajectory of D&D and that I might need to find a new game to play, OSR is one of the games that comes to mind where I'm like, that might be worth checking into. So probably one of these days I'll have to get some OSR stuff and learn how that works. Chaotic Veto asks, I will be DMing a Comic-Con one-shot for the first time. I won't know who the players are until they sit. Do I just give them character sheets and say let's go, or do I have a quick session 0? No! Do not do a session 0 and have them generate character sheets. That will be your whole game. No! Ha 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 ha! No! You will sit there for 2 hours creating characters and you won't get to play the game. No, 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 no. Okay, every single convention I've gone to, been at, DM'd at, or played in, every single Dungeon Master does this. Hello, welcome to my game. On the table before you, there is a selection of character sheets. Go ahead and take a look at them and pick one that you'd like to play. All of them, I created them all. You know, they're level 6 or whatever because this is level 6 adventure. Just pick one that you think you'd like and then, you know, grab it and start reading it over. There you go. And as the players arrive, you just tell them, hey, pick a character sheet of a character you'd like to play for the game today. And then before you start anything, as the players are arriving, you give them time to pick out their character sheet and they start reading it over. They learn what it can do and stuff. I don't know, give them 10 minutes, maybe, you know? And then when you see them kind of wrapping that up and stuff and you're ready to roll, you say, okay, guys, now we're gonna play the game. And then you start playing the game. Boom, you're playing the game. 15 minutes into your game slot, you only got 4 hours usually, you're playing your game. If you have people start rolling up characters, dude, they're gonna take 2 hours. You're invariably gonna have a person that will take 2 hours to make a character because it's got to be just perfect, and they're gonna like, you know, go, no, dude, don't do that. Bad idea. And it's a fair question. I'm not knocking you personally. I'm just saying in general that would just not be a good experience. Yeah, never have players roll up characters at the game table for a convention. My suggestion is you always create, the Dungeon Master creates the characters, a variety of them. More like if you're gonna have 5 players, create 8 character sheets at least, if not more, and let them choose the ones they want to play. You control the character sheets, you control the magic items they start with, you control the abilities that they have. You don't put things in there that you know aren't going to work or are crazy overpowered or something. Be reasonable, you know. So you control that so that you can have a little bit of, but they get choices. They get to pick the one they want to play. You know, that's completely reasonable. But don't have them create the characters. I wouldn't even recommend the whole idea of like finding out before the convention begins who your players are going to be, and then trying to talk with them and communicate with them even over email or something or Discord, and trying to like, okay guys, what do you want to play? Here are the rules and stuff. Dude, you're going to spend so much time before the convention even begins trying to talk to the players and figure out and to do character creation and stuff for a one-shot. It's a one-shot game. So you could do that if you do it before the game starts. If you have the time and the inclination, that's fair. But you're almost invariably going to have a couple players who don't do that, and they're going to show up and need you to have a pre-made character for them. So make sure you have pre-made characters always. Greg Pete says, how are the sales going for Porpoise of the Multiverse? I don't know. Let me go take a look at the sales for Porpoise of the Multiverse. I suspect that nobody has been foolish enough to buy that product yet, but you know, let's go take a look. I'm gonna go to my storefront and see if anybody has bought Porpoise of the Multi. I literally have a disclaimer on this product that says don't buy this. Hold on, let's go take a look at this product. I can't show you my screen right now because it has private sales data and crap on it. All right, I gotta find this thing. Porpoise of the Multiverse. Here we go. Oh, I have 0 sales. Oh, come on. Nobody's bought Porpoise of the Multiverse. All right, check this out. So this is Porpoise of the Multiverse on my storefront. Now, I want you to notice this is Porpoise of the Multiverse.
Maybe one of my moderators could put a link in the chat so they could find this. It's the usual price is $149.95, but the sale price is $49.95 for Porpoise of the Multiverse. And check this out. This is beautiful. Get the stat blocks from 3 entire monster books condensed into one glorious stat block, radiating splendor and sparkles, the Porpoise of the Multiverse. With this amazing product, you get the convenience of spending $50 without the hassle of reading hundreds of monster stat blocks. Here, our team of amazing game designers have distilled the essence of all monsters in the multiverse into just one majestic creature, the Porpoise of the Multiverse. What you get in this product, right? One new monster. But wait, before you spend $50 for this spectacular, dazzling creature, did you know that DM Lair patrons get the Porpoise of the Multiverse for free? That's right. When you become a DM Lair patron, you'll instantly get access to this creature that will revolutionize how you run tabletop RPGs. Learn more and become a DM Lair patron here, and then there's a link to my Patreon. Patrons do get it for free, by the way. And then I have a disclaimer. Seriously, please don't spend $50 on one monster stat block. That's just crazy. This is our wonderful, beautiful Porpoise of the Multiverse. And this is our stat block. This is a $50 stat block, you guys. I cannot legally show you a bigger image. My lawyers, my team would have my head. Like, this is a $50 stat block. You know, you have to, and this sale is only gonna last for a limited time. Usually it's $150. Today through the next week, it's gonna be at $50. I would act now before you miss out on this stat. You know what? I have to go to a different screen. I can't show you that anymore. The glory of that spectacular Porpoise is just too much for you. I am concerned. So we're gonna move on to the next question. Do you make your own battle maps or do you find free ones to use? I have a couple different things that I do for my battle maps. First, one of the things that we do, the DM Lair, is that our patrons get battle map packs every month. So we literally pay cartographers to make battle maps for us for entire dungeons and for encounters. And then our patrons get those every month as part of their pledges. So DM Lair patrons get that every month. So what I do is I use those maps myself. Like, I recently ran a one-shot that I designed, and what I did is I went through all of the different battle. Did I use ours? I might have used the battle. You know what? I think I actually might have used the battle maps from somewhere else. Yeah. In the past, what I've done, it wasn't for this recent one, but in the past, what I've done is I've gone through our own maps and just picked the ones that I wanted to use for adventures and one-shots and stuff like that. So we have an entire catalog of battle maps that patrons have access to, and you can get them on the DM Lair store as well. So that's one thing I do. I'll just take those maps and use them in my games. The other thing that I'll do is I am a patron for another person who makes battle maps, and so I will go and grab their maps and use them in my games and stuff. And then the third thing that I do is when I need just a specific map for one of my adventures and it has to be just right, I will pay one of our cartographers to make the map for me, and they'll get paid their normal cartographer rate to make the maps. And then I just use it in my game. And then I'll usually keep it in our library. Maybe we might publish something with it in the future. But I'll just pay people to make maps, basically. Kirby, dude, thank you for the $50 super chat. He's like, one porpoise, please. Well, I mean, I think you're already a patron, dude, so you have the porpoise. But I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you, dude. And he's got his name up there. There you go. Kirby just killed the last boss, and now he has his name up here. How do I... Come on, man. There it is. There it is. I gotta get my finger in the right place. Got his name on the board. Thank you, sir. By the way, if you want to get your name up there, $50 will kick Kirby off the board and get your name up there. I'm sorry, Kirby. I have to do this. Like, this is my job, Kirby. We are trying to raise money for the Capital Area Humane Society as well. They do lots of amazing things for kitties and doggies. If you want to donate to the Capital Area Humane Society, we're trying to raise $500.
And all tips, 100% of all tips go toward Capital Area Humane Society. And there's a link down in the chat where you can donate if you want. And there's another link where you can learn more about what they do as well. And we are doing a giveaway. There is a D&D book giveaway tonight. I will draw the winner of the giveaway at the end of the live stream. So there's a link in the chat as well where you can go get in on the giveaway. Whiskey Neat, thank you for the $2 super chat. It says comical traps or puzzles for Dungeon of a Silly Mage. I don't know what you're asking. I apologize. What system do you prefer? Standard array? I hate standard array. Point buy? Yes. Dice roll. I like dice roll. The problem with dice rolling for stats, for ability scores, is that you usually have some players who roll really well and have really nice characters, and then there are other players who roll really poorly and have really crappy results. And then they usually aren't satisfied and they think it sucks and it's not as fun for them because they got crappy dice rolls. Especially when they compare what they got with somebody else. And I don't like that difference, right? I don't like the fact that some people get screwed on their ability rolls and some people make out like bandits. And so I prefer to have an even playing field where all characters have equal opportunity to have just as cool of starting ability scores, because starting ability scores are pretty dang important in the game. They're very important and they don't go up very frequently. And when they do go up, you have to make a choice between a feat or an ability score increase. So I use point buy because it's an even playing field and nobody gets screwed, essentially. And so that is my personal preference. I think it's fairer than rolling dice. I like rolling dice though. Like, if it worked better, I really like rolling dice for it because I think there's some excitement around it, you know, and it can be really cool to roll dice for your character. So I like it, I do, but it's just, I see people get screwed and I feel bad, you know? Does that make sense? Does your Curse of Strahd group have their own YouTube channel? Because if love to find out. Yes. It's called the DM Lair Streams. The DM Lair Streams. And one of my moderators can probably put a link in the chat for you. But yeah, all of our Curse of Strahd games are recorded and then go over on that channel. And then you can watch them at your leisure. Almost all of our games are over there. Actually, I think they are. I think every single one of our Curse of Strahd games is over there on that channel. You can watch it from episode 1 all the way to wherever we are now. And one person made a comment once that we're taking forever to play through the module. And yeah, it's taken us a while to get through the module. It is. But we're enjoying it. It's not a race, you know? So as long as you're having fun, it's with that important. David Neal, thank you, sir, for the $50. I appreciate that. David says, is that a porpoise with a purpose? Yes, that is definitely a porpoise with a purpose. The purpose of this porpoise, we're gonna cut back over to the porpoise. Now I'm gonna have to remove that stat block. That stat block is too glorious for you to view. But this porpoise of the multiverse right here has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to generate revenue so that we can feed the kitties. All right, $50 for one stat block. You will never get this deal anywhere else. There is no other company sleazy enough to produce a book with one new stat block in it and then charge you $50 for it. I am the only one. I am leading the way, cutting edge here, and we're gonna see how this goes. All right, $50, one stat block. Come on, let's go. DM Lair store, baby. All right. Dude, if somebody actually buys that, I'm gonna break down and laugh. I'm just gonna laugh. I'm gonna tell my wife and be like, somebody bought this thing. Like, I think the only reason anybody would buy that porpoise is if they just wanted to like throw money at me and help support what we do.
because you're not. I fully expect somebody to not read the description very well and then just buy it and think that they're getting a whole bunch of monsters, and then I'll get an email where they're just like, hey, I just bought the Porpoise of the Multiverse and it only has one stat block in it. I want a refund. And I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I'm sorry, that was a joke. I'm happy to refund your money. Oh goodness, should I make character sheets for my session with friends this weekend? I don't know. What's the context of that? How do I encourage lazy players to create a good backstory? Give them my backstory template. Two things. One, use my backstory template. There's a link in the chat maybe to the DM Lair store where you can get it for free. Two, during your session 0, literally have your players at the table pass out a copy of the backstory template and ask them to write in the answers. Butts in the seats, you know, they're captive audience. They got to do it, theoretically. If they take it home with them, it may never happen. So if you really want them to fill out a backstory and force them to do it, that is the best way to do it. I would argue that backstories are optional, and I don't force any of my players to make them. In my opinion, backstories have two purposes. One, to inform role-playing for the players, and two, so the Dungeon Master can take those things and use what we call knife theory, where you can find little things in the backstory that you can weave into your campaign and then use it as a knife, you know, to poke at the character, and then, you know, they can go on adventures and do cool stuff and things like that. So I don't force my players to do it, but if they do it, everybody gets benefits. Do you have a go-to non-player handbook race that you like playing? No, I don't think so. I'm satisfied with the core races in the player handbook for the most part. I like half elves. I love half elves when they work. Dwarves are really good when it's appropriate for the class. I don't like playing humans. Half orcs might be cool. It really depends on the class I want to play. But if I love half elves. If I can figure out a way to make something a half elf, if it works for the build that I want, then I'm gonna be a half elf. I like half elves. I just like them. Any thoughts to doing what Paizo did when Wizards of the Coast went to 4th edition? Oh, you mean for like 5th edition and stuff, and just continue? I mean, 5th edition will always be around, even, I mean, the core elements of it, even as Wizards transitions to 5.5 or 6th edition, 5th edition will always be there. There will always be people who have the books. And there's always, anytime there's an edition change, there's always a segment of people that stay with the old edition for a long period of time, or maybe forever, and they refuse to go to the next edition. There's always a segment of people that does that, you know? So you could publish, even once they go to 5.5 or 6th edition, you could probably keep on publishing 5th edition content for quite some time, and there's going to be a lot of people still running it. Now, eventually it's going to start to teeter off, and 6th edition will just kind of raise, and then there's going to be a point where you're going to have to make the decision to go over to the next edition, you know, because you will almost assuredly start to have declining sales. The reason that Paizo was so successful with Pathfinder is that 4th edition was so horrible. Like, people hated it so much because it wasn't D&D. It had the D&D name, but it was a completely different game for all intents and purposes. And so it was the absolute horrendous atrocity that was 4th edition is what caused Pathfinder to do so well, because people hated 4th edition and they wanted 3.5, and Pathfinder was like, hey, we're gonna keep on creating 3.5 content using 3.5 SRD we're gonna call it Pathfinder. And so that's what caused them to go. And so you would need, for a company, any company to really take off like they did, you probably would need a similar situation where the next evolution of D&D is really, really bad and poorly received by the majority of people. You need like a big mass of people to like poorly receive it.
and then another company could capitalize on that, take advantage of that opportunity, and do something with it, you know. But if there's just like a small segment that doesn't like the new way things are going, but most people are like, oh, okay, it's fine, then the chances of somebody rocketing up, you know, capitalizing on that is not as probable, you know, because there's a very specific like market situation and stuff going on that was like, you know, the perfect events to cause them to be able to go boom. Hey Luke, any tips on running combat with an additional task which takes the PCs out of combat, e.g. turning a wheel to open a door while the rest of the PCs defend them? Do it. I think that integrating unique mechanics like that, unique objectives into a combat that isn't just go attack and kill, is good. And I think you should do things like that. I don't know that I have any specific tips on it besides try it and just be like, you know, you have to open this door. The room is slowly filling with water. These Sawagan are attacking you and you have to fill this door or you're gonna drown. And so you have to, the people are figuring out how to open that door while the Sawagan are attacking, and they're gonna have to figure that out. Who knows how they're gonna do it? One person, two people open the door. I don't know. The others hold the Sawagan off. I don't know. But yes, introducing elements like that into a combat can make it very, very interesting. I recently had a combat with my Ancient Dragon campaign where they were fighting a living nightmare of Zetirth, who is one of the big bads in the Domain of Dread that they're currently in, called the Dark Shards. And they were fighting a living nightmare, and they had to simultaneously solve a puzzle. There was a puzzle placed there, and as the longer they didn't solve that puzzle, the more waves of bad guys kept on spawning. And for the first waves weren't that bad. They were very easy to kill, but they kept on coming. But my players weren't solving the puzzle. They kept finding elements of the puzzle, and they knew there was something important there that needed to be done, but they kind of ignored it. And then the waves kept coming and they're just like, these aren't that bad. But then different creatures started coming that were much more challenging. And then they kept coming. And then my players were like, oh crap, if we don't solve this puzzle, we're all gonna die. And then things heated up. And they had to fight these monsters, hold them at bay, while they were getting these different elements of the puzzle and trying to figure out how to solve this puzzle. And then finally they managed to solve the puzzle, which stopped the waves. And then they had to deal with the monsters that were already there, which was not fun. And then did they finish that fight? I'm not sure. Yes, they finished that fight. They did finish that fight. Okay, yeah. So anyway, that's an example of something going on during a combat that can make it more interesting and challenging at the same time. And I definitely, maybe you don't do it every single combat because then, you know, it'll get old and they'll expect it. But like every so often, an element like that can definitely make a combat more interesting. All right. I think it's time to give Squeaky some catnip. What do you guys think? Give the cat some catnip and watch him roll around and be crazy. All right, quick reminders, folks. We have a giveaway going on. There is a link in the chat. One of my lovely moderators will throw it up there. You can join the giveaway. We're giving away a D&D book of your choice or store credit on the DM Lair store. We are raising money for the Capital Area Humane Society. Anybody who wishes to donate, all tips, 100% of all tips go to the Capital Area Humane Society. We also have LairCon going on. I didn't mention that yet this stream, but LairCon is this October. Let's go to the cat cam. Yeah, right there on screen. There's orange. LairCon information on screen right there. October 7th, 8th, and 9th in Pensacola, Florida. Passes are now available. There's a link down in the description where you can get more information about LairCon. And we are hiring some freelancers to do writing for us for our publications, Lair magazine and things like that. So if you're interested in writing D&D content for us, are pretty good at writing, have played 5th edition for a little bit and know the system pretty well and want to get paid and you want to apply, there's a link or there's some information in the chat. You can reach out to one of my team members, Zach, and they will get you more information on the next steps for you to apply if you would like to write for us. Create D&D content and get paid for it. Yeah. So there we go. And now we're gonna give Squeaky some catnip and watch him be crazy because that's fun. All right. We have assembled here the wrong button. We have the catnip right here and the pickle and the banana, and we're gonna get these things loaded up. We're gonna watch Squeaky roll around. Zach has hundreds of emails to go through. Oh my word. I'm sorry, Zach. You know, Zach, it was your idea to do the emails. My team and I were talking last night about how we wanted to do that. And I think it was Zach's idea. They're like, just have him send emails. Send us an email. And I'm like, okay. No. Not Adobe InDesign stuff. Literally just in a Word document, writing. We have people who do our interior layout and design in like Adobe InDesign. So we're mostly looking for people to do the actual writing. However, if you're really good at Adobe InDesign, I would still like to hear from you and know what you can do, because we do have a couple people that do interior layout and design for us, but we only have a couple, and I am a guy who likes to have variety of options so that if somebody is busy or out sick or something, I'm not in a tight spot. So if you have Adobe InDesign experience, like, and you know how to do it, like legit, because I mean, I know a little bit, but it's painful for me sometimes. But if you know how to do that, then I would still love to hear from you. This guy's a nutbag. All right, I'll be back. I gotta get more coffee. Oh. Orange.
That banana's not that bad. I have 2 bananas now too. I have a new one, then I have one that's all beat up. That might be the 2. That might be the 2 beat up one. I'm not sure. The writers are just like part time. It's freelance, so you know you're not gonna make enough money freelancing as a full-time job. I mean, I think Zach is close because that's all he does is work for us. But you're gonna get like an assignment here and there. You know, it's something that you can 100% do in your free time after your normal job. So you fill it in on your nights and evenings and weekends and stuff. You know, it's not a full-time job. I wouldn't even consider it a part-time job. It's just, hey, write some stuff, make a little money on the side type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Zach is close. Okay, yeah. You take other contracts? Yeah, especially. There's one person we were talking about that, yeah. Some people are just getting into publishing and stuff, and I think they don't really know the market. And so there are some people that pay their writers insane gobs of money, and I don't think they quite understand the market very well or something. I don't know. I don't know how they can make a profit. But they're just getting into it, and they'll probably figure things out as they go. Oh yeah, oh, I hear you, dude. Like when you find, like when you're doing freelance work or any job and you find a company or somebody who's willing to pay you like 20 times the market rate, then yeah, you absolutely want to sign up for that. Like, sign me up, baby. Sign me up. You're paying 20 times what the average person makes doing this gig. Oh yeah, sign me up. You can only assume that that person is just not aware of the industry and the market, you know, and they're just kind of taking their best guess at what to pay people. You guys crazy. Okay. Lance says, Zach, don't feel overwhelmed. I kind of figured with Luke announcing the gig on stream, it would be a flood. Keep Zach busy. It's more money, baby. More money, more money. What do you think about the Dungeon Coach's system of rolling 4d6, drop 1 for 5 stats? Okay. And subtracting the total from 72 for the 6th stat. I have no idea. Let's try it out really quick and see what we get. Let's practice that. Let's actually do it and see what we get. Hold on a second. Let's get a notepad up. And then let's find a die roller. Oh. What is the dice roller I use? I think this is the dice roller I use. Nope, that's not the dice roller I use. It must be that one. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try this. So it's 5d6. No, what is it? 4d6 drop the lowest? $4d6 drop 1 for 5 stats. Okay. So 4d6. We're gonna test this out and see what I think. What is going on here? It didn't stop. What is going on? Why wouldn't it roll it? Oh, not a 19. Okay, so hold on a second. That's a really good roll. That's a 16. So we got a 16 for one of them. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. And then a 7. Okay, so then we got a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We got a 16 on the second one. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. And then we have a 14. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we got an 8. Nope. Oh, nope. That's a 9. And then 10, 13. Then we got a 13. And that's 5 of them. Now what we do is we subtract the total of that from 72. Right? Is that what it said? Subtract the total of that from 72. Okay, so we're going to subtract the total of that from 72. So let's add that together. 16 plus 16 plus 14 plus 9 plus 13. That's a 68. Do you see what happened? 72 minus 68 is a 4. That is horrible. Whew. So you have a serious flaw. Is that... The third roll was a 13? Oh, was it? Okay. So is his system designed intentionally so that one of your stats is really low? Is that the way his system is designed? Oh, no, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Because if you roll really well on some of these, then that means that one of your stats is going to be even lower. Ooh. I actually kind of like that. I kind of like that because there's balance there, right? Like if you end up with, let's do another example. Let's say we get something very average, a 12, a 13, a 10, an 8, and like an 11. If you get like really average rolls, how does that influence things? Let's do that. 12 plus 13 plus 10 plus 8 plus 11. Now I have a 54. 72 minus 54. Now I have an 18. And then if I get really bad rolls, I'll at least have one roll that's really good. Huh. I kind of like that. I like that. That gives you the advantage of rolling dice, so you can get some really cool rolls maybe. But if your rolls are really horrible or average, you still have at least one stat that's high. Yeah, that's a good system. I like it. I like it. Dungeon Coach, that's a good idea, buddy. Okay, cool. Well, now we know. Yeah, I like that. I might use that. Constitution as your dump stat? All right. See, I knew there was a reason I like him. So we answered that question. How long does it usually take to get a response about freelance writing? Well, since Zach has hundreds of emails that he's dealing with, it might take a little bit. I mean, hopefully we can get through stuff in a month or two. But he's literally going to be asking people to send in portfolios and samples of their writing. And so there's going to be a whole bunch of people that don't have anything and don't send anything, and we're just going to be like, "Okay, thank you for sending us an email, but if you have no samples, then we can't evaluate you for this position." And then there's going to be some people that, you know, have resumes and stuff, which we don't care about, and no samples, and same story. No samples, sorry, we can't evaluate you for this position. So there's a whole bunch of folks that will just probably disqualify themselves because they don't give us samples. And then there's going to be folks who send in samples that we can quickly just be like, no, this isn't going to work, you know. And then we're going to have, like, you know, some really good candidates. And then we're going to have to internally as a team go through that and decide who, you know, who seems to be the best and will work the best for the role, you know. So it's a process, you know. It'll take some time. his system will generally max out your primary stat by level 4. It's actually really easy to max out your primary stat at level 1 with his system, more likely even than your regular rolling. Oh, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have one, at least, yes, one stat will be maxed out for sure, yeah. I think you'd have to probably do multiple rolls on that thing to kind of see what the results are. But my initial impression is still pretty positive. Assuming a campaign makes it to level 20, how long should you run the game beyond level 20? I mean, it just depends on your tolerance for high level gameplay. I'm gonna be honest with you. D&D at high levels is not that fun. It's not that fun. You have a few different things that happens at higher levels, I feel, that makes the game less fun to play. Number one biggest failing of D&D at high level play. Combats take forever. They take forever! 2 hours, 3 hours for a combat. Basic combat, because everybody's got so many hit points and stuff, and there's so many, and people have all these options, and they're trying to decide what they're going to do, and spellcasters have all these options, and it's like, oh my word, you guys have no idea. I've run a couple different campaigns now at high levels, and when you get at the really high levels, combats just take a long time. And because of the way the game system is set up with the whole adventuring day idea and depleting resources, you know, an adventure is supposed to have a certain number of encounters so that you deplete resources so that by the boss fight, they don't have all of their resources. That's the whole way the game system is designed, the depletion of resources over the course of an adventure. And so if you're running an adventure that properly depletes resources, you're going to have several combats over the course of that adventure at high levels, which means it's going to take a long time to get through an adventure. And adventures are going to take a whole lot of time at higher levels. So combat takes a lot longer. It can be more complicated. Now, yes, you have access to fun stuff, cool spells, cool abilities. Yes, you do. But the monsters are all a lot more powerful too. So things just take longer. And you're doing cool stuff, yes, but combats are going to take a lot longer. So if that's your cup of tea, then you're going to love it. Sitting there for 2 hours in a combat, the majority of your game session in one combat, high level play is that's the ticket right there. If long combats are not your thing, then 5th edition high level play is probably gonna maybe not work for you. So that's the first thing that happens at high levels. The other thing that starts to happen at high levels too is that players get access to certain abilities and spells that can really give the dungeon master headaches if they use them to their full potential. And most people will bring up Wish as an example of one of the things at high levels that can break the game. In 5th edition, they really kind of capped the usefulness of Wish to a certain extent where it's no longer nearly as game breaking as before. But there's still certain combos and things that people can do, especially if they have access to certain magic items that can start to break the game down and kind of ruin play a little bit. So it depends on your group, it depends on what their characters can do, and it depends on your players as well, how willing and able they are to intentionally go out of their way to break the game. You know, there are certain channels on YouTube that are pretty much dedicated to telling you how to break the game, the most powerful classes and the builds and stuff, so that you can essentially break the game and make your dungeon master go cry in a corner. And obviously there are Reddit posts with all these nice big combos and stuff too that dungeon masters just love. So that's another thing that you run into at higher levels. It's more challenging to design adventures at higher levels because you want the premise of an adventure to be worthy of a high level character. You want something really, you know, earth-shaking, universe impactful going on at higher levels. So your premise
your situations, the stories that are happening, they need to feel epic, if that makes sense. And so there's a little more pressure to develop that. You have that going on. You at higher levels, when you're designing encounters and you're designing adventures, you really need to consider what your players' characters can do and customize things even more heavily around them than you would at lower levels. If you have a paladin with a 30-foot aura that gives everybody a +5 to their saving throws and protects them from a whole myriad of conditions, you need to account for that in your game design. You do. You absolutely do. If your players have very weak builds at higher levels, you need to account for that and you need to adjust things. There's a lot more work that goes on behind the screen for a dungeon master. Now, yes, many will say that is enjoyable work, and I would agree that a lot of it is, but it's more complex, and it's maybe not for every dungeon master, and high level play is perhaps not for every player either. I know that all of my campaigns generally go to level 20 because I think it is an enjoyable experience to level up and get to level 20 and then play the game a little bit at level 20. But invariably, once we get to level 20 and we get all the way up there, we'll stay there for a little bit and run some adventures at level 20, but invariably we end up starting over at level 1 and running a different campaign, because I have found that when you're at level 20, it's the novelty of it and the coolness of it might not last that long. Now, if you get to level 20 and you're all loving it and you're doing all these cool things, you're using all these awesome bad guys and everybody's having a blast, rock on. Rock on. Your mileage might vary. That might be the thing for you. You guys might love the crap out of that. And then I would say keep on doing it. Shoot. You know, why not? There's no reason to reset or go and do something else just arbitrarily because some dude on the internet told you to. If you guys love it and you're having fun, then rock on. My experience has generally been that once you get there, you get bored of it after a little bit. At least I have, you know, and then you want to kind of start over or something. So I would say stay at higher levels and run higher levels for as long as you guys are having fun. As long as you're having fun, keep running there. Be aware though that there are some complexities built around higher levels in 5th edition. In my opinion, the game was not designed to be played at higher levels. And I believe that is in part evidenced by the products that Wizards produces. Most of their modules don't go past level 12 or 15. They don't. How many modules have they published that go all the way to level 20? I know that Dungeon of the Mad Mage does. If there's another one, I don't know which one it is. They probably have done at least one other one. I just don't know what it is offhand. But my point remains, the majority of them stop at level 12 or level 15. And I think there's two reasons they do that. One is because they kind of know that the game isn't very playable at high levels. And two, they know that most groups never make it to high levels. And so they're creating products that are going to be marketable to the most amount of people. And that's a reasonable thing to do when you're running a business. So there are two reasons there. And one has to do with the unplayability to a certain extent of higher levels. Although my groups still have fun at higher levels. We do. But there are things as a dungeon master that you need to use your brain and account for when you design those games, is my point. Yeah, you can't have goblin ambushes at level 20. I mean, yeah, you can. It might not be the most satisfying thing. They're just gonna be like, really? Really? We're getting ambushed by goblins? We're level 20 characters! We are above this! The Dungeon Master's like, well, you know, the goblins don't know that you're level 20 characters. They're still ambushing you. And the players are like, yeah, well, we squash them. And we're going to show them who's boss. Dungeon Master's like, well, I mean, you can squash them. They're just little pathetic goblins. I mean, it's kind of pitiful. And the players are like, oh, shoot, that's true. Okay, we'll let them live. We'll just beat them up and take all their things. And Dungeon Master's like, they only have a few copper pieces and their swords are all rusty and their armor is really rotten and stuff. You're gonna like steal all that stuff from these pitiful goblins. And then the level 20 characters are like, this sucks, this game. And these goblins, you know what? I give them a bag of platinum pieces and tell them to go on their way. And the Dungeon Master's like, okay, cool. The goblins love you and they're very happy. A couple of them are now worshiping you as their deity and stuff. So yeah, you made some friends. And the players are like, oh my gosh, level 20 play, man. Level 20 play, dude. I cast Fireball, yeah. Oh, you're ambushed by 10,000 goblins? Yeah, Fireball. Multiple fireballs. That's true. You can definitely up level or whatever goblins and make them more challenging. Every Avenging Blowfish says end goblin racism. What were they asking? Oh, what I was taking a note on? Oh yeah. Yeah, so I do 2 videos a week. My Tuesday videos are highly produced, scripted, filmed, and everything affairs. My Tuesday videos are like high production quality stuff. My Saturday videos, literally what I do is I will take stuff from my live streams that I think either answered a question that would be very useful for people, or if I just delivered a rant that I think is funny or something, I'll put it up there too, because people love watching that crap too. You know, I got to give the people what they want. So literally, like when I stop and take notes, I'm writing down things that I think might be good material for one of these Saturday videos. That's what I'm doing. It's a way to double the content that you can create for minimal extra work, because I'm already doing the live streams. And so if I have really good content that's in a live stream, here's the thing, there are very few people that watch the entire live stream. And so if I have a 3-hour live stream and there's like 10 minutes in there where I answered something that is very helpful to people, nobody's gonna see it unless I take that thing out, make a separate video of it, and then have a nice thumbnail and a title, and then people go watch it and they're like, oh cool, we got some useful information to help us in our games. If I don't do that and pull it out and make a separate video, nobody will ever see it. And it could be very useful content, or it could just be a fun rant or something, which people also like watching that stuff too. You know, not everybody just goes there for information. People want to be entertained and see stupid. Some people just want to see people rant about stupid crap. I don't know. I can't explain it. I just know that it gets good views and it works really well. So, I mean, I'm just working the system, guys. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. Where did you get the barbarian voice from? A lot of your skits, or think of it?
Well, you know, the thing is, this is this is actually my real voice. I don't usually tell people this, but this is the way I talk in real life.
This voice right here, this is my acting voice. This is the pretend voice that I put on so that I sound like a normal human being.
But if I stop acting, like as soon as the live stream is done, this is how I talk. Like I go to talk to my wife and this is the way I talk to her.
So it's kind of like, you know, you have actors and stuff. Like for instance, Julia Roberts, an actress, she's from the South. I forget, Alabama or something, but she has like a Southern accent when she speaks. But in most of her movies, she replicates like a different accent. She doesn't talk with a Southern accent in many of her movies. She's acting, she's changing her voice in her movies, you know, that she does. So, I mean, I do the same thing, you know.
I can't just talk with my normal voice because it's kind of weird and people probably wouldn't accept me.
And so I have my show voice, and this is my show voice. And it probably sounds better than my barbarian voice. So that's the story on that. Lance says, I watched a video
by somebody else about guns, and I was wondering what your opinion was. What about guns? Like, you know, like real life guns? Like, should we be allowed to have guns and stuff? We're not going to talk about that because people will flip out and freak out, and then this whole live stream will burn to the ground as the chat blows up with a heated political discussion. So we're not going to talk about that. But that, I don't know if that person you mentioned was talking about that or talking about guns in the game. We're going to assume we're talking about guns in the game. I hate guns in D&D. I hate it. I do not have guns in my games. There is no gunpowder. You're not shooting bullets. You're not shooting cannons. We're not doing it. We don't do that. I want to run a medieval fantasy game. If I want to run a game with gunpowder, okay, then I'm not going to probably be playing the same type of game. It's not going to be a medieval fantasy game with magic and swords and stuff. Once we have gunpowder, things change. It's a different feel to the story. It's a different thing. And, you know, you're going to have to contend with players who, once you give them gunpowder, they start inventing things overnight that it took hundreds of years for civilizations to invent and come up with. But they, with their 21st century knowledge, are like, hey, I'm going to get somebody to do this, that, and the other. I'm going to hire a blacksmith and we're going to do this. And they're recreating an invention that we know of with our 21st century knowledge, and they're recreating it with gunpowder and stuff. So I don't know. It's just kind of, I just have this thing in me that's just like, no, I don't want gunpowder and guns in my games because that's not the feel of the world and things that I want. And two, there's always part of me that just knows that there's going to be the player who's going to be like, I'm going to make grenades. You're not making grenades, dude. Come on, buddy. So, yeah. Smoke powder. Smoke powder. Wands are guns in D&D. Yep, there you go. But Lantern has guns in Sword Coast canon. I don't care. I don't care what they put in their dumb books and canon. That's the thing, right? Each dungeon master is running his own game and his own campaign, and they can change and do things they want. But Luke, what if we make a lightning cannon? Fine, it's magical. Make a lightning cannon. I don't care. Just don't make it out of gunpowder. I don't care. Make a lightning cannon. That's fine. I would support that. What did Ed say? Oh, smoke powder? Yeah. Cast bullets? It's smoke powder and it's highly volatile. No. Okay, now there's no smoke powder. As soon as they are running my game, they can make that decision for my game. Until then, I am the DM. Yes. Yes. Wizards of the Coast said that all of our games and lore are canon. What if I have a pan and I cast iron? No, I would ban you from my game. What about the peasant railgun? Wait, what is the peasant railgun? Are you shooting a peasant off a railgun? I would support that. Put a filthy peasant on a railgun and shoot them off. I would, make it a halfling. A halfling peasant on a railgun and shoot it at high velocity. I would support that. Absolutely. Some people are going to be upset. Luke doesn't like halflings. Not the peasant railgun. It's stupid. I don't know. Look it up. Okay. Oh, it's an abuse of the mechanics. Well, we're gonna find the peasant railgun now. Peasant railgun. The peasant railgun. The legend of the peasant railgun in D&D 5e. All right, let's see. We're gonna go over here now. What is the peasant railgun? Line up a bunch of peasants or skeletons or goblins or whatever, other reasonably intelligent creatures, and have them take the ready action. When the peasant is handed the item, they immediately pass it to the next peasant down the line. The item could be a rock, spear, bucket, 10-foot pole, or whatever else. Ultimately, as the theory goes, the item doesn't really matter.
The final peasant in the line has a different ready action than the others. This peasant has instead used their ready action to throw the item at a target once the item has been handed to them. By handing the item to the first peasant in the line, you start the domino effect of peasants passing the item down the line and towards the final peasant who is ready to throw the object at the target. Because a single round in D&D 5e is 6 seconds long, regardless of how many reactions happen, it would take only 6 seconds for the item to be passed down the entire line and ultimately yeeted at whatever poor target the final peasant is aiming at. The idea behind the peasant railgun is that the item would be accelerating to an incredible rate and therefore deal a colossal amount of damage simply because of the force behind the item. Okay, I understand the concept now. The concept was much more interesting when in my mind I saw a rail gun that was shooting a peasant. When it was a gun shooting a peasant, that was interesting to me, and I thought that was fun. This here, the actual peasant railgun as written, is stupid and an abuse of the mechanics, and I would absolutely not have it work. It's dumb. So yes, that is absolutely stupid. We should just abolish that idea completely from the internet and just have a gun that, like a trebuchet or something, that like shoots a peasant, and that's it. And the peasant goes splat. And I think that would be fun. There's gonna be some clever player who like comes to the game table one day and is like, I'm gonna do this thing, because they read it on the internet, and I'm gonna be like, I know, I read it too, and the answer is no. Oh, I answered that one a while ago. What is your definition of an adventure, quest, or campaign? Mainly an amount of sessions it takes to get through one. An adventure is built around the concept of an adventuring day. And an adventure should have a premise, a situation that's happening. There should be plot hooks. There should be a rising action as they travel through the adventure, as they get closer and closer to the objective. And then there should be a climax, usually with the boss fight, when they're about to accomplish their objective, get the MacGuffin they're after or whatever. And then after the climax, there is a conclusion where things are wrapped up. They go back to their quest giver, they get their reward and stuff like that, and then they take a rest or something like that. That is an adventure. That's the definition of an adventure. You have the standard flow of a story. Now, we're not telling a story, we're playing a game, but a well-designed adventure has a lot of these hallmarks of a good story. They do, even though it's game and not it's telling a story. That's the definition of an adventure. How long does that usually take? It really depends on how long your adventures are and how slow your players are, how fast your players are. Standard rule of thumb is usually about 3 game sessions, 4-hour game sessions, 3 of them, you're probably gonna get through an adventure, roughly. So that would be my gut answer on that. A quest. A quest is the exact same thing, same as an adventure. There's no difference whatsoever. Same thing. A campaign can take however long you want it to be. You might design your campaign to go from level 1 to 8. You might design your campaign to go from level 1 to 12, 1 to 18, 1 to 20. You might have different parts to your campaign. Like many times, I can't have a campaign that has one central idea and one main bad villain go from like level 1 to 20. I'm probably going to get bored and it might not work. And a lot of times the types of monsters that you use in low levels aren't the same types of monsters in high levels. And coming up with a reason why all of these different variety of monsters are working together, it can get convoluted. And so you might want to, and I would trend toward doing this myself, is break up my campaign into different parts. In the low levels, there's a big bad and they're fighting against that guy. But once they wrap him up, there's a new threat that has come into the region. And then they got to take on that new threat and they wrap that up. And then there's another threat that is threatening the entire world when they get to high levels. And then they're taking on that. And that low level threat, the mid level threat, and the high level threat can be unrelated. They don't have to have anything to do with each other. And that can still be your campaign, even though you have totally unrelated themes going through it. So you could do it that way as well. When I run my games, we usually go from 1 to 20. We just do, generally speaking. There are exceptions. Sometimes we decide we want to end early at level 17 or something because, for instance, we want to go play Curse of Strahd, you know. So there are exceptions, but the campaign might take 2 to 3 years. Usually when I have a group that goes from level 1 to 20, it takes about 3 years. 2 to 3 years is the general guideline of how long it takes us to get from level 1 to level 20. 2 to 3 years is how long it takes us. And that's playing every other week. What do you do when writing? I write. I think, and I write. I type too. I usually drink tea or coffee or something. I listen to music too. I'm interested in this as a topic, not a job opportunity, so don't feel obligated to respond. Oh, you're asking like for our job opening, for the writers that we're looking for, what you do when you're writing. I don't know exactly. So basically the way it works is my team and I plan out what the content is going to be for Lair magazine and other things that we're doing. And then we do two different things. We have some freelancers that we know are very good at certain things, and we reach out to them specifically and we say, hey, you know, would you be interested in doing this project for us? You know, there are other we have another place on our Discord that we will just put out like the upcoming projects, and then the freelancers can express interest in the ones that they want to work on, and then we'll just pick the ones that we would like to have work on those projects. And then once we have selected the freelancers that are going to work on projects for us, we give them contracts, we sign contracts, and then they get the specifics of the assignment, and then they write it up. We have templates for a lot of the things that show them the format and everything and how things should be put together that fits how we publish things. They write the thing, they turn it into us. There's an editing process. We might send it back to them for updates. Frequently, we send things back for updates. They make some updates on things. We have a game design review, we have an editor, we have final reviews, things go to me. You know, there's a whole process behind the editing, you know, and how that all works. But at the end of the day, you know, you're essentially just getting, you would be getting assignments for doing things. And you usually get a choice. I mean, you get a choice on the different things you would want to work on, because some people are not good at writing adventures and they don't want to. So we don't force people to do that. Some people, like puzzles are not easy to create, and there aren't a whole lot of people who like doing them. And so, you know, we have one person doing a whole bunch of puzzles for us because I guess he likes them, and we appreciate it. Other people want to do traps, other people want to do monsters, magic items, and stuff like that. So you get the opportunity to kind of pick the things you want to work on. It doesn't necessarily mean you're always going to get what you want, you know, because maybe everybody wants to do NPCs and not everybody can do them because we're only publishing one piece on NPCs. But then you kind of get assigned a project, you pick a project and combination thereof, you write it, and yeah, I mean, and then it's just you're writing it in a Word document. You know, it needs to be formatted correctly. We have a style guide that you need to follow. You need to follow things like SRD. Very, very important to follow SRD, because if you send it, we had a guy do this recently. They sent in something that was full of things that violate the SRD. And my project manager were like, dude, we can't use this. You have to change all of this because it's not publishable. You need to do this all over again, you know. And we give people the guidelines and the information on the SRD so that they know that, but some people just don't read, you know. So I mean, there are guidelines and things you have to do properly, you know. But all intents and purposes, you're creating D&D resources and you're writing them. Now we have expectations that it be well written. Like, you know, if we have a writer who is not good at writing at all, then guess what happens? We get a really sloppy piece that's not well written, and guess what happens? The rest of my team has to pick up the slack on that. My editors are working their butts off trying to get it to make sense. My game designer's rewriting half of it, like Ed was rewriting half of it. It might have to go to Zach to like rewrite half of it. You know, the final piece might not even resemble what the writer sent us originally, you know. So like we are looking for a baseline skill in writing and communicating. Otherwise it just doesn't work, you know. So yeah, I don't know. There's information, I'm just talking.
If high level is less fun, what level do you suggest to end it at? No, I don't. It's not necessarily less fun. Like, I think it's something that you need to find out on your own. Like, don't stop at level 12 because I said high level is not fun. Don't do that. That would be ill-advised. Like, I'm giving you my personal opinion and explaining things that I've learned from my experience, but I don't think that is not a good reason for you to not play high level. You should play high level to experience it for yourself, because you might like it and your players might like it, and you guys might have a completely different experience than I have. So don't just take my word for it and stop at level 15 because Luke said so. That would be ill-advised. Go to high level, experience it for yourself, and see what you think and see how it goes. And then make your own informed decision about whether you like high level or not and where you should stop in the future for your campaigns. That's my suggestion. Don't not do it because I said to not do it. You know, it's like there are some things in life that when people tell you not to do it, you should listen to them and not do it. Like, if I tell you, hey, I once jumped off a bridge and broke both of my legs, it was not good. You should not jump off bridges. You're well advised not to jump off bridges. When I tell my daughter, don't go into student loan debt, work your butt off, don't go into student loan debt, get scholarships, work full-time while you're in school. If you can get out of college with no student loan debts, you have a leg up in the world and you will be much happier. When I tell my daughter that, like, she is well advised to not go into student loan debt. So there are some things in life that, like, you should just take people's advice who speak from experience and not do those things, right? But there are other things in life, like playing high level D&D, that, like, you should do and experience for yourself because you might like it. But I can guarantee you that nobody in the world enjoys having student loan debt, and nobody in the world enjoys having 2 broken legs. Like, 100% guarantee you that. Does that make sense? So yeah, play high level and see if it's fun. It's totally empty. Was there no coffee warning? I didn't get any coffee warning in chat, in the spreadsheet or anything. This is the one job you have. This is like the one job, is to yell at me when I'm low, and I had nothing. This sounds like anti-bridge jumping propaganda. Yes, get fired up. This is what the internet does. You know, every little tiny thing, they're just like. I think we were distracted by talk of peasants and railguns. How do you handle mapping a big dungeon when playing in person? Do you let players make their own maps as they go? Do you try to draw the map yourself as you go? I draw the map for them as they go. It is faster and easier for everyone. It just makes the game better. Somebody might be like, well, you know, back in the day, the way we used to run Dungeons and Dragons is that there would be one person in the party. They were assigned the role of being the mapper. They were the cartographer. And, you know, that was their job. The dungeon master would describe the rooms and the corridors and things, and that one person, their job was to map that out. And that way, later on in the dungeon, you didn't get lost and you could refer back to that map. You know, and that was really important. You know, and back when we were growing up and playing D&D, that's what we did. We had a person mapping that dungeon out. And that's the way we did it. And that was great, and that was amazing, and that was fun. Yeah, we've tried that. It sucks. It sucks. You know what? You want to know what actually happens when you have a player designated to be the mapper? This is what happens. Dungeon Master describes a thing. The player is drawing a map. Wait. Can you repeat that? I didn't catch the last part. Dungeon Master repeats it. Okay, thank you. On the map. Okay, things happen. Dungeon Master describes things. Wait a second. The room is 30 feet by 40 feet, but where was that door? There were 2 doors. One was over here. Where was the other one? Where did you say the other one was?
Dungeon Master describes it again. Player takes some notes and stuff. This continues onward with the player writing and asking clarifying questions, the Dungeon Master repeating himself and going back and forth, and ultimately you have this map, right? So the whole time there's this bog, this slowdown, this repetition as the player's trying to do it, and then all of a sudden, you know, they get the map, but they made a mistake, right? And then there's something really messed up in here, and then they're like, well, you know, and then you're trying to figure it out, and you're just going, the whole game just is like, comes to like a little crawl. Because you want to have a player do the mapping. That's been my experience. So I don't do that. We don't do that. We have not found that to be an enjoyable part of the game. Your violet mileage may vary. You might have a different experience, and you might find it fun to sit there and let a good portion of the gameplay be designated to somebody drawing on a piece of paper and the Dungeon Master repeating their instructions. You might find that valid. Well, you might object and say, well, Luke, the Dungeon Master doesn't have to repeat themselves. They could say it once, and if the player gets it wrong, they get it wrong. Well, you might say that, but as a player, I would argue I'm literally standing in the room. You're telling me that I can't look around and confirm my observations? It's illogical. If I'm literally in the room right now and I ask a clarifying question, you should tell me because I'm literally here looking. Do you want me to make a perception check to see where that door is? Like the door, there are two doors and one's here, but I didn't hear you where the other one was. Should I make a perception check to see if I can tell where the other door is? Like, you can't, the argument of the Dungeon Master not repeating himself is rather silly in my opinion, because the players are standing in the room when they're drawing the map of the current room they're in. And so you're going to have this back and forth, and it's going to bog things down a little bit. And then you have a player spending tons of time drawing out a map, and then the end result many times is not very accurate. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. And then you have this big convoluted map, and they're like, oh geez, man, it's a big hot mess, and we can't figure things out. And then there's some frustration there too. Not only did they spend their game time when they could have been playing a more interesting part of the game, drawing a map and asking questions, but now they have a map that they can't use. We've never found that to be enjoyable. Never. So, in my games, I just draw a little mini map for them when they're going through an adventure. It's faster, it's accurate, and it allows us to play the parts of the game that we enjoy playing. Now, if you personally love the idea of spending a good portion of your dungeoneering drawing maps and asking clarifying questions, and if that's what floats your boat and you have found that to be an enjoyable part of the game experience, then don't listen to me. By all means, have players draw maps. But I have found that it's not enjoyable, and I don't give a flying crap if other dungeon masters that played back in like the early days and stuff are like, well, you know, back in the day, I don't care how you did it back in the day, dude. I just don't care. You can sit there and wax and wane poetic with nostalgia all day long about the good old days. But I'll tell you what, you take that element of the good old days and you put it in the present days, and it's not fun. And that's the only thing that I need to know. Therefore, I don't do it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Gotta write that one down. Somebody's telling me I need coffee. Thank you. Yes, Robert Christian. That's a rant for Saturday. Yeah, I need coffee. That's horrible. All right.
for the job offer for the freelance writing, is it just the story we're writing, or can we also add extra things like monsters or locations? You're not writing a story, you're writing a game. You'd be writing, if you're talking about an adventure, you'd be writing an adventure. So I really want to avoid the idea of writing a story. We need to remove, we need to remove the idea of writing stories and telling stories from D&D vernacular. We do. Because it gives the wrong impression of things. We're not telling stories, we're not writing stories, we're designing adventures, we're designing a game. There is a huge difference. And I think that people, when they say writing a story, I don't think they mean writing a story. I think they understand that they're talking about writing a game and stuff, but there are people who don't get it. And they can be led to believe that we're just writing stories and telling stories, and that's not what we're doing. It's a game, right? So if you're writing an adventure, you can create custom items, magic items, and monsters as part of your adventure. You need to be careful though, because we do have word limits. Like we you know, if the word limit, for instance, on an adventure is 7,000 words, like that's the cap. So please do not write something that goes over your word limit. And if you do, we're probably going to ask you to trim it down. We recently had someone turn something in that was way over the word limit, and now they're being tasked with trimming it down because we just have word limits. It's just the way it is. You can't write something that's too long, man. There is a ripple effect of costs when, you know, the project gets too big. So we gotta keep things within the parameters of what we're aiming for. So anyway, if you add extra elements and stuff and you're staying within the word limits, then you're good. I don't know why I keep picking this stupid cup up. I'm just like I'm just like it's empty, and I keep picking the stupid thing up. All right. I think that's all we got time for tonight, guys. All right, we're going to pick the winner of the giveaway. And then we're gonna wrap up here. So if you did not enter our D&D book giveaway, there is a link in the chat that somebody is gonna throw there for you. Please go sign up if you want to win a D&D book of your choice or store credit on the DM Lair store. We have lots of cool stuff over there that you can get. And then I'll draw the winner in just a little bit. So let's see. Final plugs. LairCon. LairCon is coming up. Let's go to the screen that has LairCon. There we go. October 7th, 8th, and 9th in Pensacola, Florida. Passes are now available. There's a link down below for LairCon. I'll be there. Some of my team members will be there playing D&D, having fun. It'll be amazing. So if you are in the area or can make yourself in the area and want to come play with us, feel free to do that. We'll be there. It'll be fun. Coffee addiction leads to hallucinations, I'm pretty sure. I'm not addicted. I'm totally in control. I'm 100% in control of my coffee. My desire for coffee. All right, we're gonna draw the winners of our giveaway. I don't know that I might have a video on plot hooks. I'm not sure. If you go to my channel and just search for plot hooks, you might find one. I'm not sure if I've done a video specifically on plot hooks. No, wait, yeah, I have. No. No, I have. I did a video very recently on plot hooks, actually. It was not that long ago. I absolutely have a video on plot hooks. I did it like under a month ago, I believe. So yeah, there's definitely a video on plot hooks out there. I remember making the thumbnail for it now that I think about it. All right, here we go. Drawing the winners. Drawing the winners, baby. Here we go. Uh-oh. Matthew Chamberlain. What up, dude? You won. Congratulations, buddy. I'm gonna send you an email, man, and we'll get you hooked up. Are you still here? You don't have to be here. But if you're here, you can be like, yay, woo! You know, it's get excited. Pretend you're excited. Just pretend. Pretend, make me happy. Somebody pretend. Somebody pretend that you're happy. So that I can not cry in a corner tonight. I hate crying in corners, you guys. Yeah, I don't think they're there. They're not here anymore. All right, I'm done. This is ridiculous. I quit. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Jack is excited. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack. Lord God is pretending. Okay, thank you. All right, I feel better now. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I'm leaving. Goodbye, everybody. This has been fun. I'll see you next week. Bye.